Hey, buddy. What's up? Howdy. I made a fucked up cup of coffee this morning. The ratios are just all off, okay? Wow. I haven't seen ratios this bad since the last time the Quartering posted something on Twitter. I don't know. He gets ratioed a lot. I don't know. Hey, how you doing? What's up? It's like it's too much milk. It's like white practically. Look at this. It looks like those like little Starbucks drinks, like the ones that you get from the fridge, you know? Yeah. I put the milk in before the coffee. I was impatient. I thought we can streamline the process, blah 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 blah. You know, that's a lot of cream, dude. No, it's milk. I didn't put that much cream in. This would be like a quart of cream. Okay, that'd be a lot. I came out to my aunt and she said everyone already knows. Nice. That is that nice? Is that nice? I don't know. I mean, they haven't beaten you to death yet. That's nice. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. A little nice. How's everyone doing? I slept so badly last night, but we got stuff to cover, folks. Yet? Well, they could always, yeah, in the future, you never know. You know, could be a zombie deal. Wait, what is this? Vosh hasn't gone to a single BLM protest or any IRL event. He doesn't have a single black fan. Minorities and real leftists don't accept Vosh or his fans Lamau. He font get subs now without Trump. Won't get subs now without Trump? Ah. Sorry, folks. You're all white now. Poll for how we doing. Let's just assume everyone's doing well. Actually, one time I was out and somebody came up to me and they were like, "Hey, are you Vosh? I'm such a big fan." And that person was black. So there's at least one black fan in my audience. I can vouch for that much. Yeah, my one black friend. Uh yeah, see, Vermin's backing me up on this one. When will you have that debate with Charlie Kirk? It's the 3rd. I'll do a big announcement when we're closer to the date. I still have this weird feeling something dumb is going to happen. I don't know, like they're gonna say actually this was a practical joke or something. Ha. Oh, speaking of jokes, um I had a very stressful dream, okay? I had such a stressful dream. It was so unwarranted. My God, what an anxiety dream over nothing, too, okay? I dreamt that I woke up and got quote tweeted by a celebrity aggressively misinterpreting a joke I made from a tweet back in like 2019. And the quote tweet had like 250,000 likes. Like, it was one of those tweets where it was like, making a joke about women that's clearly making fun of the people who unironically hate women, you know? But then like some celebrity, like big celebrity, like Oscar shit, quote tweeted that. They were like, stuff like this is why we can never have real progress. And I was like, that kind of shit. Yeah, a prophetic dream. Yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen. You know, that would be slightly irritating. Who, Vosh? I don't think it was a real celebrity. I think it was just like the concept of a celebrity, you know? My birthday's the 3rd, so you better blow Charlie out for my birthday, of course. I'll keep that in mind. For your birthday, of course. Will you debate psychics? No. They have an unfair advantage. If you have nightmares about Twitter, you need to touch grass. It wasn't like a nightmare. It was just like a stressful situation. I didn't wake up like screaming and like sweating profusely or anything. It just happened in the dream, you know? Also, it's not like that shit hasn't basically happened to me before, you know? Genuinely, nothing makes me feel more deflated than somebody taking a joke unironically. Dude, that shit makes me so fucking sad. I feel like I feel like I'm a funny guy, you know? I know that I have dry humor. I understand that not every joke I make is going to immediately get picked up on by everyone who hears it. But sometimes, man, like, for the OG Vosh fans, do you guys remember when Twitter introduced the only your mutuals can reply feature? And I started tweeting stuff like Kamala Harris is the modern day Mao Zedong, or like, yeah, like Bloomberg is the Engels of the modern, just like the most obvious bait. I mean, it's not even obvious bait. It's like I might as well just have posted the image. Yep, that's bait from Mad Max Fury Road. You know, but I got thousands of quote tweets on those. I wonder if I can find. Hold on, wait. Vosh, Twitter, Bloomberg, Engels. Let me see if I can. Yeah, here we go. God, these were such bangers. No, wait, this one didn't get quote tweeted to hell because this one didn't have the turned off replies. Okay, Vosh, Twitter, Kamala Harris, Mao. That's. Oh no, this was the big one. Okay, here it is. Get ready, okay? Too many leftists have trouble contextualizing theory in the modern era. If Lenin, Mao, etc. were alive today, they would have been Bernie or Warren staffers, and they would have endorsed Biden after Bernie dropped out. You'd know this if you read more than their Wikipedia articles. 1,500 quote tweets. This thread had some bangers in it, by the way. This was good. I think the main problem with the leftists who disagree with me is they haven't read enough Marx. This is actually true, by the way. This one thing is unironic. Lenin either. Not enough people have read The State and the Resolution, and it shows. I'm not Kamala Harris's biggest fan, but it's worth noting that she, like Mao, does have a radical housing plan in a time of crisis. Maybe they could have seen eye to eye on that. But it didn't matter. Nobody got it. Well, you guys got it, but the insane frothing at the mouth lunatics who quote tweeted me did not get it, actually. They did not get it at all. But, like, it's obvious bait, right? You get that, right? Like, I mean, looking at that, I feel like if a person who I disagreed with made tweets at that level of bait, I would be able to recognize it, you know? Tim Pool does this often. Tim Pool will post bait tweets, and I can usually tell when he's doing it. And he's not as good at it as I am. But I can usually tell. I've said this before, but I think it's a really strong sign of mental wellness if you are capable of recognizing sarcasm in your political opponents. Because if you can't, if you're so, like, whipped into a frenzy just looking at them and everything they say, you're not really hearing or understanding the context of what they're saying anymore. You're just looking for, like, any avenue to dunk on them. And at that point, you're not engaging with what they say in good faith, so you don't even know if your criticisms are accurate, you know? Like people who criticize me for believing that Lenin and Mao would have been Bernie or Warren staffers. They don't even know what they're criticizing. Vosh, wasn't it kind of the point for them not to get these tweets so you could mock them? I made the bait obvious enough in the hopes that people would think it was funny, not that thousands of people would take it seriously. You know? The goal here, yeah, was the state and resolution. I mean, come on. Yeah, exactly. A ton of people were taking that white liberal bit super seriously when Shu tweeted it. Yeah, that too, man. I can't believe there were people being like, well, this is basically serious because Vosh actually acts like this. This one.
The stereotype. I'm not equal. Well, not separate, but equal. I mean, well, we will be doing separate tasks on this central project. So it actually will be separate but equal amounts of work. And I understand that sounds really weird from like a race perspective, but I need you to understand I'm not racist. I've masturbated to many interracial porn. Well,
there were people who watched this bit, this flawless comedic delivery, and unironically thought that this was a human being actually having a 1 minute long slip up. Comedy is dead. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? But if I can't, yeah, there were people on the left quote tweeting this saying this isn't a joke for white people to make. I strongly disagree. This is actually the joke for white people to make. What, self-deprecating jokes about how white liberals performatively act anti-racist to compensate for internal biases? What joke are white people better suited for? Like, yeah, what would this even make sense? Like, I feel like if a black guy did this joke, it would be less contextually appropriate because the point is that I'm making fun of my son. I mean, what? I don't know. I don't know. Whew. Well, yeah, voting for Obama for a third time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you think Get Out would have been like more appropriate if all the weird like patriarch house owners doing the body snatching were black or something? What? I don't know. It feels like in context, the thing that's being made fun of here is pretty clearly like I guess, a part of the white liberal experience. Because I've seen people act like that too, like in real life, you know? I've heard people say you defend bestiality. What are they talking about? I've never heard that before. That's a mixture of two things, okay? That's a mixture of, me being a Chad horse dick and furry porn appreciator. And B, and this is true, by the way, me pointing out that if you get morally outraged by bestiality, but not factory farming, it's probably just a moral outrage thing, more so than a care for the animal things. That's not to speak at its moral worth. I'm just saying, like, the performative moral outrage is definitely, it's it's just, you know, oh, is it Hassan's birthday? Is that true? He's 30. Oh, 30. Couldn't be me. Happy birthday, Hassan. To you guys. Oh, it was yesterday? Well, I don't care. Definitely first heard about you because of your thoughts on pedophiles, that it's bad. Yeah, unfortunately, and this is just an optics game thing. I feel like if you sat down for like 2 seconds, any time like this comes up, like, because this has happened like a dozen times, right? You know, people come on the stream or they debate me or something, and they're like, I've heard all these things about you. You're disgusting. And then I talk with them for like 3 minutes, and they're like, oh, I understand. Everything that I heard was completely sensationalized, and actually your position on this is reasonable and in fact basically the same as my own. Like, this happens like every time. It's just people fixate on stuff like that because it's a thought terminating cliche, you know? It means that you don't have to focus on the arguments that I make. Instead, you can just push past it and just like ignore everything and just go for the guns. Also, by the way, Nazis will call you a pedophile just for being gay or trans anyway. So, being that I'm at the very least into men, it seems like a ubiquitous, you know. It feels like it's basically like the final point of all arguments that you get to with like the far right or anything, because you ignore everything else, and I'd be like, yeah, I am okay with gay characters in kids shows, and they'd be like, that's because you're a pedophile, and I'd be like, oh, well, what a long road we took to arrive here. Um. What is this tweeter? Somebody link this. Literally every time you trigger people on Twitter, there's always quote tweeting you calling you a pedophile. It's like 50-50 crazy people who hate me and like people who don't know any better. But I try not to take it too personally. You know what I mean? Here, hold on. What is this? If you call yourself a socialist or leftist, but you spend all your time beefing with communists, referring to us as tankies. Uh-oh. Demonizing socialist states as tyrannical and rationalizing U.S. empire. Yeah, dude, people are going to wonder if you are who you say you are. This person has me blocked on Twitter. That's why we're on an incog window. I don't even think all these guys are feds, though some of them probably are, whether or not they even realize it. Wait, how do you not realize if you're a fed? You mean like a Russian sleeper agent? What? Like that? Like they whisper a code word into a mic they have like implanted in the eardrum, and you start posting anti-Soviet shit on Twitter? Just opportunistic wrecker nitwits hopping in on a trend, giving naive young people an excuse to feel edgy without any genuine commitment to these movements. Remember what I just said about how it's a sign of unwellness if you can't recognize humor in your political opponents? This is also a sign of unwellness. You notice here, this person actually can't fathom a good reason why a person wouldn't like tankies or existing socialist states. You see? Like, their two explanations are you're either a fed or an opportunistic bandwagoning dipshit grifting off of like there's no opportunity in here, no range for a person to have sincere beliefs that oppose them. If you disagree with them, you have to be some kind of in some way compromised, you know? Stuff like this, when I read it, it makes me think that these people have like really limited social functioning because they aren't capable of understanding other people's mindsets, you know? Like, I understand to a pretty decent extent why Nazis feel the way they do, you know? You feel like a sense of enemy and alienation. You're told to value things around you that feel like they're changing, and change makes you afraid. You don't have much in the way of personal accomplishments, so you try to attach yourself to a grander ideology, and in doing so, you find yourself in a civilizational battle against things you disagree with. Now, all of those pretenses are incorrect, and it's easy to debunk them, too. But I can understand why. Like, and understanding it makes me better at addressing it, you know? But this person can't understand. I've never met a tanky who could understand. Have you guys? Have you ever saw a tanky online who was able to accurately explain why maybe somebody wouldn't like the Soviet Union? Because I've never met one. I've never met one who went, okay, I understand how the secret police, the mass murders, the genocide, the racism, the ethnic deportation, and the autocracy were bad. But no, they're always like, actually, the Soviet Union was superior in every way to bourgeois democracy. Yeah, it's always propaganda. Everything is always lies. They have their own version of reality. It's deranged. It's always deranged. It's crazy. So they don't actually reach out to us because they don't actually understand why we believe what we believe. They aren't capable of looking at the world in a way which is more complex than us versus them, blue team versus red team. That's all they see. And they think because we're not like Stalinists that we have to be federal agents, you know? Ugh. All the sugar was at the bottom little sip of the... Whatever. Did you not stir it? Yeah, like 20 minutes ago. It sank to the bottom. I stirred it. I literally argued with the tanky saying all anti-MLs are anti-science because Marxism-Leninism is a science based on physical laws of the universe. At this point, anytime somebody uses the term like dialectical science, I automatically assume that they are that they are a fucking loon. God. That's not what scientific socialism means. Yeah, isn't scientific socialism just meant to be like the counter thesis to utopian socialism, if I remember correctly? Isn't it just like we're arriving at the socialist practice through an understanding of the basic like ordered laws of human interaction, not laws like cosmic physics laws, but laws in like we understand how the markets work, we understand how human society is organized, stuff like that. It's not literally a law of the universe, but that's what ideology does to you. Ugh, God. Does China have universal healthcare? I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if China, at least in some parts of the country, had better healthcare than America, though. Though I'm not sure. I genuinely don't know. Scientific socialism is based on revolutionary communism, Bob Avakian. Wait, that's not true. Bob Avakian's modern. Is that true? Wait, that can't be true. All hail Bob Avakian. I've told you guys about Bob Avakian, right? Back when I was a college student, his nutso followers would show up at sociology conferences and try to rope people in to like buying his books and joining his little club. He is like basically he's like so obviously trying to make himself out to be the prophet of communism. If you take a look at any of the stuff that is written about him, like his website and his books, it's never like, here are some thoughts I have in the world. It's always glorious leader Bob Avakian, a radically different leader, a whole new framework for human emancipation. Bob Avakian is completely different than the endless stream of bourgeois politicians who are put forward as leaders whose goal, it's all about him. It's always about him. It's always about him. He shows up at HSU from time to time. That was my university. Does he really? He just pops up? You address the pedo shit? I don't get why people say it. I made a really convoluted analogy saying that people should be as opposed to child labor or child slave labor in the global supply chain as they are by child pornography, because in both cases, you're horribly abusing children for like nothing. Like you're doing it like you're hurting them because what? Like to satisfy some convenience, you know? That they're both horrible and they should stop. But the analogy that I produced for this was perhaps to some a little bit convoluted, so. Yeah, it's not not convoluted if you can draw a straight line between 2 points on a piece of paper, but yeah, whatever. Anyway, yeah, wait. I wasn't looking at stream. I thought you were being satirical when you were reading the site. No, that's legit, like, all of this. A statement from Bob Avakian. Nothing less. What is Bob Avakian's new communism? Here's a quote from Bob Avakian. Here are some books from Bob Avakian. Who is Bob Avakian? Here's some old video footage that we probably edited to look more grainy than it actually is, so we can pretend it's from further in the past. Get to know Bob Avakian. The official Bob Avakian biography, the spoken word of Bob Avakian. Get to know Bob Avakian while watching Fruitvale Station with Bob Avakian. Bob Avakian's memoir, From Ike to Mao and Beyond. My Journey from Mainstream America to Revolutionary Communist. A memoir by Bob Avakian. It's not going to stop. It's going to keep going. VFD, if you keep spamming, I'll ban you. Forever. Shut up. Do you think Bob Avakian can tell me about the sauce wash? I'm sure he can tell you about some sauce, you know? Control F is named to see how many times it comes up. Let's just say infinity, because I already closed the page. Yeah, I do think that I'm a good YouTuber. However, I'm not Bob Avakian. Very big shame. All right, we're covering the Activision California lawsuit, but before that, can I just delight in something with you guys? Just a little bit. Can I just have a little moment? Every once in a while, I'm browsing through Newsmax TV and I see something that tickles my fancy. I don't even care that this is like a week old. Representative Green temporarily banned from Twitter. And I saw the first like 10 seconds of this and I just want to watch it with you guys. I saw like up to here, okay? What, 20 seconds? I don't know. Why are you doing that to yourself? Well, it is a little bit funny how this channel has completely imploded. Like, the view counts on these videos are pathetically low compared to what they were before. and Fox News is doing fine. Like 500,000 to 1 million views on clips uploaded daily, you know? It's just funny how they were all talking about how Fox News is done, it's all over, it's gonna die, it's gonna be destroyed, and that Newsmax and OAN are the way of the future, and now it's just like another YouTube channel, you know? Anyway, just delight me, okay?
Congresswoman, I think we have breaking new news on the censorship front. Unfortunately, tell us what has just happened to you on social media.
The censorship front.
Well, as if my speech hasn't been canceled enough this past week, now Twitter has banned me for 12 hours. And this just happened. I found out from my staff as
12 hours. 12 hours. And she's on a news station about it. What? How long did it take them to set up this interview? Like, by the time this was recorded, it was probably like close to being done, right? Or actually done?
I was looking at Twitter and I was saying, what's wrong with my account? And we got the notification that I've been banned for talking about COVID-19. You see, all I stated on Twitter was that COVID-19, the vaccines should be optional. No one should be forced to take them. Our military.
Wait, who's forced to take them? They are optional.
Should not be forced to take them.
So wait, actually, hold on.
The military should not be forced to take them.
The military should not be forced to take them. Actually, yeah, they should. The soldiers have to get vaccinated for everything else. You think you can just be in the military without your immunization report? Yeah. They're soldiers. You're going to sacrifice military readiness? Wait. This is the political party. This is the political party that said we have to ban trans people from the military for better readiness, which went against the Pentagon, who said there was no problem with them being there. But they're willing to let their soldiers remain unvaccinated in the face of a global pandemic, which is actually worse overseas than it is domestically. Why? Yeah, they should be forced to take it. God. America's military crippled by COVID-19. Can you imagine? I think it's not optional for teachers and medical professionals. Yeah, it is. They can leave their job. If you're a teacher and a medical professional, you have no right to hold that job while not getting vaccinated. Zero. Zilch. None. Nada. Okay? You have the right to quit. That is your freedom.
So the only things I put on my Twitter page and tweeted was about information that is true statistics, and you can find on the CDC. But yet Twitter, who is playing a big part and a role with big tech and Facebook and the White House.
Why aren't you showing the actual tweet that she got nuked for? Like, if you show the ban notification, why won't you actually show the tweet? Is there something there that makes your ban look a little bit more justified than how you're describing it?
Apparently, the Joe Biden administration in censoring Americans, along with the communist cities in communist California, who doesn't believe that America First represents their values in Anaheim or Riverside.
What
That's
is
the
she
other
talking
city
about?
that also banned Matt Gaetz and I from having a rally.
Congresswoman,
this is completely incoherent. The thing that really gets me, like, and I know I'm not the first person to make this claim, you know, I'm not exactly hot to the ticket on this one, but Marjorie Taylor Greene looks like a psychopath, and I just don't know how Republicans I don't know how they can get past that, you know? What's that guy, Copeland? Kenneth Copeland, the pastor? Like, same with this guy, by the way. I have no idea how you can be a follower of Christ and look at this guy and think, yeah, he's spitting hot Jesus fire today. This is absolutely an agent of the Lord. This extremely normal-looking human. You know? I just don't know how you can get over the aesthetics, because conservatives are so obsessed with aesthetics, and they're always, like, posting image macros on how their Fox News reporters are hotter than, like, MSNBC's reporters or whatever. So I don't know how they can look at this stuff and like overlook it. You'd think they'd be like, I don't know, a little put off.
It's great to see you. You know, the last time you and I spoke, I think it was back in April of this year, you were headed to Ohio for a Back the Blue rally. That rally ended up being canceled because of security concerns, because of BLM and Antifa. There were a lot of protesters. They wouldn't provide the security for you there. So what's happening in California, unfortunately, is not something new. And it seems to me when you see what's going on in these cities that the BLM groups, Antifa, some of them, if it doesn't align with their values, these city officials are okay to silence you.
What if it's actually just they don't want you? Wasn't the problem that they weren't willing to provide security? Because she's a congresswoman after all. She needs security. They just don't want to provide security? Is that it? Can she bring her own security? Isn't she like demanding something from the government and then complaining that she's not getting a free handout?
That's right. And here's what's concerning. So imagine this. Matt Gaetz and I have had 3 America First rallies, and we have seen President Trump have hundreds of beautiful rallies all over the country for 5 years. He had these rallies. There were no violence at Trump rallies. There have been no violence at our America First rallies. As a matter of fact, they've been nothing but a celebration of our freedoms and America First policies that serve all Americans. But yet these 2 cities and
I actually can't believe, is Marjorie Taylor Greene the only person who's still publicly associating with Matt Gaetz at this point? Because I remember that even Boebert like stopped engaging with him. Do you remember that? Like she deleted tweets where they interacted with each other or something. But Marjorie Taylor Greene just doesn't care. I don't know. It's like the new Epstein couple.
And even in Ohio, because of Antifa and BLM radical domestic terrorists who are the ones that truly cause violence all over the country, because of those people, we are being canceled and our speech is being canceled, and we're being blamed for it. So you can see what's going on.
What are these videos from? Just wait, hold on. Out of curiosity, are these just random videos from like a year ago? Of a bunch of people just calmly standing around like, what is this, a car on fire? Just like randomly throwing one of these videos out. Oh yeah, there we go. Washington, D.C. 2020. Thank you. I didn't see the little bit in the corner. That's very funny to me. Yeah, riot stock video.
This is communism. This is communism when you have American cities canceling 2 members of Congress events at private venues. They're also canceling these businesses' ability to be able to serve a customer and make money. It's absolutely unbelievable. And
so to be fair, isn't this literally just them not providing security? Yeah, everything is communism. This is why, like, what does cancel even mean anymore? What does communism even mean? Do you think they think that's what communism means? I have no idea what degree of sincerity we're working on here. Because MTG is legit crazy, okay? When Marjorie Taylor Greene says some dumb shit, I do not get the feeling that this is some calculated move, you know? We have plenty of video evidence to confirm that she is indeed a fucking loon, you know?
everyone should be outraged.
No, and that's a great point, too, because, look, it takes a brave business to stand up to City Hall, right? The old phrase, you can't fight City Hall. Well, in this case, they chose not to. But let me ask you, Congresswoman, it's appropriate, unfortunately, it's sickening, but it's appropriate that you literally got taken off of social media only moments before this appearance to talk about censorship. But we can't just complain about it. It's important to identify the problem. We need to talk about solutions. You're a sitting Congresswoman. You're one of the leading lights of the America First movement into the 2022 campaign. What specifically should be the agenda of the America First movement? What will we do differently once we are in control of both the House and Senate to make sure that this doesn't happen? What just happened to you, what happened to President Trump on a lasting basis, what is the agenda to stop this?
Yeah, sorry, I'm looking at the news article, and yeah, it looks like it was canceled for security concerns. The reason why they're doing these rallies where they are is specifically to attract controversy, by the way. Guys, where did Trump hold rallies? Trump held rallies in Trump areas. He wanted his followers there. MTG and Matt Gaetz in Anaheim? The Anaheim Event Center? Like, okay. Yeah, the city backed out. City officials shared concerns about other events limiting police resources for the rally. Yeah. It was the lack of advance notice for an event that would attract the attention of this one would raise issues for the city. So they didn't even, like, plan that well ahead of time? Tickets to Saturday's event were free for general admission, but you could upgrade to VIP status for $250 per person. And then here's the section on Gates being a child sex trafficker. Absolutely necessary to include that in any piece of media about him. Don't let people forget. Where was that fundraising lay epic fail? Come on, where was it? Did I not like it on Twitter? Where was the lay epic fail-arino? Relatable language, thank you. Where was it? It was Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz raised like no money. Like zero money for all the stuff they did. Hold on. If I look at... Can I find this? Let me see if I can find this. And somebody in chat found it first. Nope, this is not what I was looking for, but it is delightful. Matt Gaetz and MTG's new fundraising committee is losing money big time. Come on, did anyone else see that tweet? It was oh, here it is. Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene's nationwide fundraising tour has been a bust, spending over $250,000 while raising less than $60,000. Yikes! Whoo! Now that is a rate of return. My God. It's a good thumbnail, too. Yeah, that's a good thumbnail. I'm really getting the feeling, you know? Really getting the vibe.
Well, thank you, Steve. I think that's a very important question. The agenda when Republicans take back the House needs to be a very tough stance. Number one, we need to secure our border. That is the biggest national crisis we are facing as a nation.
Where? How? How? Not COVID?
We have got people flooding in at nearly 200,000 people a month, all kinds of diseases, drugs, human trafficking,
we care about
terrorists,
disease now?
people from everywhere. And we have no idea where they're, what they're doing and why they want to be in our country. Another thing we have to do is we have to crack down on this censorship, remove Section 230. These companies should not be protected. They don't deserve the protection, especially when they're working with the current regime to restrict Americans' free speech and censor our voices.
I've talked about this before, but do you know what getting rid of Section 230 would actually do to the internet? It would cause more censorship than you could fathom. If we got rid of Section 230, if I remember correctly, what Section 230 essentially means is that platforms can't be sued for the activities of people on those platforms as long as certain good faith measurements are taken, or measures are taken. So basically, if you got rid of Section 230, it would mean that if somebody tweeted out something illegal, you could sue Twitter for it. So why would Twitter let you tweet at all? Ever. Why? If that was true, the censorship would ramp up 1,000-fold. It's only because social media platforms aren't held liable for the behavior of the people on those platforms that we're allowed to do anything, you know? Like, this doesn't solve the problem they're talking about. I think they just started focusing on Section 230 because it was, like, a good buzzword. Vosh, that isn't true. Look up legal. Wait, am I misremembering? Is that a different thing that does that, and Section 230 is a different thing? I could be misremembering here. Legal Eagle Section 230. I probably can't watch Legal Eagle on stream, right? Oh, here's a short video.
As it seems to happen every few months, certain politicians are making a big
Don't
stink about
copyright
Section
me.
230 of the Communications Decency Act. The funny thing is that if they were successful in repealing Section 230, it would be disastrous for those politicians, because it does two things. Number one, it allows platforms to moderate, and number two, it provides a shield so that if a user posts something, the platform isn't responsible for that post. And while a lot of people are mad about the moderation, if that shield was destroyed, a lot of those accounts, the ones that are at risk, that are peddling conspiracy theories and are possibly defamatory, would be simply shut down. The first one to be shut down, probably President Trump's. So as the old...
This was before Trump got banned from Twitter.
proverb says, be careful what you wish for. I did a whole video on this in the past, check it out. And if you like this video, check out my other Eagle Briefs where I cover the legal issues of the day. And as always,
Thank you, Legal Eagle. Is that debate James Vosh? He does look like James from modern day debate, doesn't he? There's definitely a visual similarity there.
about the moderation.
Yeah, for sure.
So that would be number one on my list. Another thing we have to do that is imperative to our future, imperative to our nation and our security going forward and our children is we have to stand up to China. We just got briefed tonight by Dr. Yan, who is a brave woman that escaped the CCP. She's a virologist who has come forward to give information. And China is a very dangerous threat to us now, but also to the future. They want to defeat us in every single way, and they have plans to do it. So we need to take China very seriously and make sure that they know we will not tolerate what they're trying to do to our country.
And Congresswoman, the people.
Man, why do, again, like, I don't understand why Republicans pretend to care about China. You'd think they'd agree on so much. Like, Republicans and the CCP both want the exact same thing, okay? They want rampant capitalism moderated only by nationalist interests. They want a tyrannical state with a cripplingly oppressive anti-free speech agenda that censors and silences people that go against the state whims. They want an active and growing military. They want to foster like a sense of delusional patriotism. I don't know. Just like what? Like why? Just because they're Chinese? Is that it? Is this a race thing? Is this racism?
People, American people really stand with you. The Hill had a piece out saying controversy equals cash for you as well as Congressman Gates. They say you're among the top-ranked fundraisers in the House. It
Really?
seems like obviously that is really resonating with the American people.
That's right. And I'm very proud to say that, and I'm grateful to people from all 50 states that donate to me. And my average donation is under $30. And you know what that means? That's regular Americans that are supporting me.
My average donation's under $30, and coincidentally, I also have under 30 of them.
And I can tell you that's a blessing, and it's my honor to serve in Congress, not only to serve my district, but to serve all America First patriots all over the country. They know I'm here fighting for them, and I will never back down. And that's why they're supporting me, and I just can't tell you how wonderful it is. So thank you to everyone if you're watching.
If you would, and just quickly, please, Paul Hodgkins today was sentenced in a felony. He's going to serve 8 months in prison. He's never had any kind of prison record. He was nonviolent on January 6th. He committed essentially trespassing, and yet his life has essentially been ruined. Your thoughts on that sentence handed out today?
I think it's out.
Trespassing into a government building while part of a mob which had the intent to kill politicians. Isn't that like... If you do realize that if you break and enter into a house, you don't get 8 months, right? Just so you guys know, in case you have any illegal activities like planned, you got some on your itinerary. If you break into a person's house and you have a gun on you and you get arrested before you kill anyone, you're gonna get more than 8 months. Like, it's just... He claims trespassing. Was he inside? Wait, am I thinking of the other person? Hold on, wait. Jan 6 rioter sentenced. This is the person who got in the building, right? Felony sentencing, 8 months in prison with 24 months of supervised release. Yeah, he entered the Senate chamber and was taking selfies, appeared prepared for conflict. Yeah, so first of all, trespassing and breaking and entering are two different things. Trespassing is when you're on the property. Breaking and entering is when you break in to a building you don't have the right to be in, which is what they did. That's a different thing. I don't know why I'm arguing this.
Outrageous. You know, and I have no problem saying that these January 6 defendants are being treated like political prisoners of war. One of the things I did last week in California is I toured the border, and I also got to see one of the detention facilities that ICE and our U.S. Marshals use. And I can tell you for a fact, illegals that break our laws, entering our country and also have broken laws and are waiting their court dates, they are treated far better than these January 6th defendants, especially those that are being held in the deplorable jail right here in Washington, D.C.
What? So much about this is really indicative of the fact that, again, if somebody firebombed a Democratic office and killed a bunch of blue congressmen, that Marjorie Taylor Greene would be defending the firebombers. Lying about the things that they did, defending them, claiming that they're prisoners of war, which kind of implicitly suggests that she's on their side of a conflict against the United States government. And then, for the first time in her life, caring about the prison conditions of criminals. Has Marjorie Taylor Greene ever in her life cared about that before? Is that ever something Marjorie Taylor Greene has ever cared about? Ever, at any point? These people who are arrested are in poor jail conditions. Probably not. But for these guys...
Now, they've been charged with crimes and they deserve their day in court. And of course, none of us condone the violence that happened on January 6th. But this is beyond out of control. And this is not who we are as a nation. We should be a nation that has laws, law and order and justice in our courts, but not a nation that treats people so badly just because we disagree with their political stance and want to humiliate them. And you know, this is
with
what
an 8-month sentence for breaking into the Capitol building? Damn. It's pretty easy, you know? That's pretty good, all things considered. That's a pretty lucky break. There are kids out there who get 2 years in jail for having a dime bag of weed on them, you know? And like 8 months for breaking into the Capitol building. Okay.
Democrats are doing. They want to humiliate all people that support President Trump and are not satisfied with the election outcome and are not happy with the Biden regime that is ruling right now in Washington, D.C.
Long live Comrade Biden.
And so that's what they're doing. It's through intimidation.
I wish we had more time with you, but really quickly before we go, because they're yelling in my ear, but the January 6th committee, the members have been selected. I know you had wanted to be on that committee. I just want to get your reaction to that.
I am hoping to see good things out of this committee, and I will continue to be very vocal about it.
What are
because
good things?
I did want to serve on the committee because for once I want to see people fighting. I want to see Republicans standing up to the Democrats that use these committees like witch hunts against.
Okay, so yeah, she's pro the January 6th, right? So yeah, I don't condone the violence they engaged in, but I wish I was on the committee just to make sure that, you know, we could prevent them from actually being investigated and charged.
People like President Trump and Republicans in Congress and then the people back at home. So I had asked to be placed on that committee because I want to stand up for truth, and I will not allow the abuse that we've had to go through, especially after what we saw with the Russian collusion conspiracy lies. And you talk about propaganda. That right there was propaganda that was spread for years. And we're disgusted. The American people are disgusted with what happened with the Russian collusion conspiracy and all that we had to see over and over with these hearings and committees and people being...
One of the things that really bugs me about lefties is that they gave up on this talking point. The end result of all the Russian collusion stuff is that there were people in Trump's cabinet, or not cabinet, sorry, in Trump's administration who were explicitly corrupt and were trying to collude with the Russian government. They just weren't able to get anything on Trump directly. And there's overwhelming evidence that Russia did use a social media and like a intelligence agency firestorm to try to influence the results of our election with the explicit intent of favoring Donald Trump. Like, all of that has been proven true. It was never proven that Donald Trump himself was some agent of Putin, though it is certainly convenient that he seemed to do everything Putin would have wanted him to do and played defense for him and trusted Putin over his own intelligence agencies. But agent of Putin. Thank you, chat, for always bringing that top-tier political analysis. Receipts for the Kalinskyites here. It's not controversial. Guys, how many indictments and how many charges came out of the Mueller investigation? Wasn't it like something like 24 indictments and like half a dozen arrests or something? It was a lot. Like, yeah, stuff happened. And if you ever want, you can take a look at the Senate Russian what was it? Committee investigation. There was a big article published Hold on. And by big, by the way, I mean like really, really big. Here's 966 pages. It's a lot. You can read it for fun if you want, or you can find a news article that summarizes it. That's, you know, that's a choice that only you can make. Most lefties are kind of suspicious on how that whole thing went down because Bernie lost the primary too. I'm not sure what you mean. Why is the quality so bad? Because it's a government thing, so they don't care about convenience. Because they hate us and we hate them. Because they despise us, just, you know. I'm trying to see where I can... I'm trying to find the... I'm trying to find the news article that I read on this. I remember it had a big red image at the top, and it was a pretty long summary of the contents of the paper. Kremlin papers appear to show Putin's plot to put Trump in the White House. This is a more recent thing. I haven't looked into this extensively, but yeah, something like this. Vosh. Ah, here we go. Thank you. Who just posted that? Who just posted that? Wally's channel. Thank you. Here we go. The Senate Select Committee on Intelligence confirmed what the Mueller report could not. Yeah, here you go. This is what I looked at. It was from The Atlantic. Thank you very, very much. Oh, wait, this isn't very long at all. Is this not the one that I remember? Well, I looked at this, and then I looked at some other thing, I guess, because I remember this image, but then I remember a long article. Well, anyway, just go look it up if you want. Just go look it up. Just finish the damn video.
Persecuted in their lives, everyday lives, and accused of things they didn't do, especially President Trump and his family. But this is what we're going to see coming up with Nancy Pelosi's January 6th committee. And so I hope the Republicans placed on this committee are ready for a fight, because we can't allow this to continue anymore. We've got to defend our freedoms and stop communism that's definitely trying to take over our land.
Yeah, we sure do. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Dude, I need to be a conservative. I would have so much fun doing this. Oh my, I would have the time of my life being a lunatic like this, okay? I could just be here, up here, you know. We need to oppose critical race theory in our schools, which teach the Marxist ideology that whiteness is a bourgeois property and that property that is private should be abolished. Ergo, they want to abolish white people. If you think what I just said sounded really dumb, that was almost word for word a James Lindsay tweet from less than 24 hours ago. So I didn't make that up. It was from him. Yeah. I don't believe you. Why wouldn't you believe me? It's James Lindsay. All Republican, like all conservative arguments are essentially just playing word scramble with like the refrigerator magnets. Let me read the little donos, and then we'll talk about the Activision lawsuit, which I've been looking forward to talking about, not the actual lawsuit. I didn't know. I was not personally aware of the conditions at Activision. Actually, I kind of was. The writing was kind of on the wall on this one. Well. Cad, sir, thank you for the incredibly kind Tier 4 sub. I really, really appreciate that. Starek with a very kind $5. Necrons versus Gene Stealer cults. Also, if you're reading 40k books, I recommend The Infinite of the Divine. Also, Sargon debate when. Sargon recently did reach out for a debate, but he only wanted to debate, what was it? Was it Kink at Pride? He wanted to debate, like, Kink at Pride. So he wanted to avoid a real topic, basically. Also, hey, nice models, my dude. Absolutely. How often would Necrons fight Gene Stealer cults anyway? Necron tomb worlds probably aren't rich in biomass. They just chance across each other from time to time, I guess, you know. Big Almond, thank you for the very kind tier 2 sub. I really appreciate that. Watching your content for a while, not a huge fan of debates, but I love the segmented content. Wow, Vaush, great moves. Keep it up. Proud of you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I try my best. We might be doing more debates in the future. McSqueeb and Vontix, thank you for the tier 1 subs. Appreciate that both. Likewise, Infernus, thank you very much. Sergeant Beta with a very kind tier 1 sub. Some people on the subreddit have VDS. They talk about how dishonest you were with the cop video, even though you clarified after new evidence came out. Those are probably Destiny fans who are less interested in intellectual honesty than they are in promoting the idea that I don't have any. Changing your mind when new evidence comes out is the literal definition of intellectual honesty. There is no greater definition for intellectual honesty. Being confronted with new information and going, ah, I see. That's I don't know like how you can necessarily improve on that unless you never want to make any claims in anything ever, unless you somehow know for a fact you have all the evidence beforehand, which you can't ever know. It's not possible to know. You know? The Vosh subreddit fucking sucks sometimes. It's because we don't moderate it. Oh, yep. I checked Destiny's sub, and yep, there's one right there. Saying I'm engaging in misinformation for looking at it, and then for 30 minutes later being given the body cam footage, looking at it, and then changing my mind and explaining why I changed my mind. They don't really care. It's not about intellectual honesty. It's about epically owning the lefties. 196 is the real Vosh sub. True. True. How are they still mauling so hard about you? They'll never stop. It's never, ever, ever going to stop. Maybe it's that you're too quick to jump things and attacking cops. I will always assume the worst of cops in any situation. Why wouldn't I? They're incredibly powerful and they have no oversight. Why would I not, by default, side in instances where... Did you see the original footage? That looked pretty fucking bad, and the cop was acting pretty weird there, too. This is one of those situations where I think it's totally reasonable to, by default, assume negatively about the cop. And if the cop can exonerate themselves, great, but the burden of proof is on them. Wait, the cop was fine in the end? Yeah, there were multiple body cam footage segments, and it looks like the little baggie that he put in the car, they just took off the guy who was already in the car, and they put it in there, but it was all done pretty visibly, and it wasn't, like, part of a plant. Unless there was some element to it, like some legal pretext they might have had that I don't understand, it doesn't seem like... Won't they make cops scared to arrest people? For them? Do their job? Good. You know what? If they're scared, then they can wear body cameras. Protect themselves. Yeah, they should be scared. They're the fucking police. They're the most privileged people in this society. They can break laws with reckless abandon and get away with it because all the people who are supposed to hold them accountable for it are their fucking buddies. Also, like, by default, the American narrative has always been to side with the cop, okay? So acting like there's some, like, put-upon minority is super, super disingenuous. I'm not saying you're doing that, but... Horrors me, thank you for the very kind $5. I found the tanky secret. You can criticize ML states if you call yourself an ML. I can't do it. Sorry. Keegan, thank you for the 10 Canadian. Hey Vosh, I'm just getting here, but I'm wondering if you have anything to say about the current discourse on Twitter surrounding autism. Oh my god. Why is this so difficult for people? There's an objectively correct answer to all of this, okay? Autism is often quite debilitating, but in the case of stuff like autism, it often feels like inseparable from elements of your personality, you know? Like, if you're autistic, it doesn't feel like you're you, but then you have the autism node or whatever, in the same way that sometimes, like, anxiety or depression can. If you have anxiety or depression, for some people, you can feel like normal most of the time, but then every once in a while, the depressive or anxious symptoms rear their head, and it's like, I wish I could get rid of this, you know? But autism doesn't really work that way. People with autism aren't, like, normal most of the time, but then, like, every once in a while, they have the autism flare-up, like it's a fucking cold sore. And they're like, wish I could get rid of this. So to autistic people, there's no way to cure them without basically erasing their personality as it is, you know? Maybe there are elements of autistic behavior they would want to get rid of, like, for example, well, there's a ton of stuff, you know, like inability to read social cues or hypersensitivity to noise or stuff like that. And that's fine, but that's not them wanting necessarily to erase the autism holistically. That's them taking issue with some of the more extreme and destructive symptoms of autism. But when you start talking about, like, we should be curing people with autism, this language is inseparable from the language of eugenics, okay? Because you're not talking about getting rid of specific negative conditions that people want to get rid of anymore. You're essentially making these decisions for other groups. If you ask 100 depressed people, do you want us to get rid of your depression magically by snapping our fingers? Most of them will say yes. Almost all of them will say yes. And anxious people, yeah, most of them will say yes. Almost all of them will say yes. If you talk to autistic people, the answers are going to be a lot more complicated because to a lot of them, these feelings, their condition, their framework is inseparable from their personality. What would they be without it? Maybe they'd be better, maybe they'd be worse. They don't know because it's so integrated into their behavior that it's almost impossible to know what, like, for me, I know what I would be like if I didn't have bipolar disorder, you know? I know that. Because I, you know, didn't get it until I was in college. Or I didn't get the symptoms till I was in college. Not really. I know what I'd be like. But I've been autistic since, like, day one, baby, you know? I don't know. I have no idea what I'd be like. Would I be, like, less wacky? I don't know. Maybe I would be able to tolerate crowds more? I don't know. If the question is, like, yeah, would I be less cringe? Probably. If the question is like, should we try to find ways to mitigate the most negative elements of autistic neurodivergence from people, like the things that make you non-functioning in society, then I think that's reasonable, you know? But that's not what people talk about, you know? And also, when this discourse comes up, it's really hard not to notice the seething puritanism of people who say they want to cure autism sometimes. Like they're, I don't know, like they're eugenist commissars trying to perfect the human genome. Like, you know, we will cure you of your this or with that. It feels like it's less humanitarian and more about, like, this is the rigid range of acceptable human behavior, and you're not in it, buddy. And no autistic person is going to be comfortable with that kind of stuff. Does that make sense? Have all my thoughts been laid bare? Okay, yeah. In essence, there are elements of autism that are that it can be pretty tough to manage, that I think autistic people would like managing or getting rid of. But curing autism is, to many people, something which is just inextricable from the idea of just eliminating their personality. So, yeah, it's not good. Why not just have constructive conversations about this? Hey, would you agree that some elements of autism are pretty negative? Like, you would do better without them. And then everyone will say, yeah, you know. And it's like, okay, so we agree there are some negative elements. Would it be possible then, maybe we could use, maybe if there was a way to snap your finger and eliminate those elements while preserving maybe the more non-pernicious elements of autism, would that be okay? And I'm like, yeah, okay, I don't know, sure, I'd be cool with going out in crowds and being able to eat fruit. I'd still be, like, different in my own ways, but, like, the worst parts of it would be gotten rid of. It's like, okay, well, what if there was some way to streamline the range of autistic expression in humans so that while there's still a variety in how we behave, the most negative elements are, like, trimmed down on? Oh, that sounds fine. Like, doesn't that sound fine? You know? I don't know. To me, that sounds fine. Why can't you eat fruit taste? I can't eat a ton of food because of the texture. I like the taste of almost every food. I don't like coconut and pineapple too much, but beyond that, I mean, Brussels sprouts, bananas, apples, pears, I just love all kinds of food. But the texture really fucks me up, so I just can't eat it. Can't turn everything into a smoothie. You don't like coconut? Maybe that's why I'm so eager to find excuses to give it away. I Will the Coconut Island thing even work on you then? Well, thankfully, I can survive off the sustenance I get from receiving head. So, yeah. TBH, a lot of, quote, autism things are not bad. It's just the people without autism that think they're normal when they're actually super weird. Look, I just think that, look, here's my true and based pilled take, okay? Everyone is autistic now because of the internet, all right? To varying extents. We're all weird and have trouble in some element of social behavior. None of you are perfect, okay? We're all living it, okay? Some people are autistic in ways that maybe affect their life in a more substantive negative way. Maybe some people less so. But we should all be accepting of the things that make us different, okay? And we should be forgiving to ourselves and to other people for behaving in, like, ways which are somewhat aberrant to like, standard behavior, you know? Be accepting of people who defy social standards a bit. As long as they're not mean. Because that's bad. What do you think causes autism? I don't know. And this is one of those things where I'm reminded of what Neil deGrasse Tyson told Ben Shapiro, where this seems like one of those questions where it's almost irresponsible to look into the answer because people will use it for political reasons, you know? Because, like, imagine if some study came out. So, for example, there was a study showing that more trans people are autistic than cis people. So that's actually, like, really interesting. Why is that? Like, really, why is that? I can think of some, like, reasons why, okay? Maybe autism is sometimes a collection of social mannerisms which emerge from a feeling of dissonance between you and your environment, a type of cognitive nonconformity, which also correlates to being transgender. So, in that case, the autism and the gender dysphoria, or the being trans, they aren't necessarily the same thing, and neither causes the other. It's just that they both tend to be wrapped together in the same rejection of, you know, standard social experience. Maybe. Also, more autistic people are gay/bi. I genuinely don't know. Maybe just autism is like being different in any way can just make you autistic because being gay makes you feel like you're different from people, and the autism develops as a kind of social coping mechanism. I have no idea. I do not know. I do not know. But you know that anytime definitive evidence on this is going to be found, people are going to use it as an excuse to invalidate other people. I've seen a lot of people saying, for example, that trans men tend to be autistic, and that means they're not actually trans men. They're actually cis women who think they're trans because their autism makes them uncomfortable with the social expectations of being a cis woman, so they escape it by faking being a trans man. No, this is legit something I've heard from multiple people. No, but this is what I mean. It's always like, yeah, you know? Or they blame some kind of sexual trauma. Oh yeah, that's a decades old one. Also, like, I mean, personally, like, I'm interested scientifically in what the answer to these questions are, but, like, honest to God, if I knew a trans person and I could somehow, like, read their brain, and I read it and it said, this person is trans because they're autistic, I don't know. All right. Have fun. Yeah, okay. All right. Whatever. Yeah, you know, I'm interested in the scientific inquiry, but like Neil deGrasse Tyson said, it's just important that political ideologues can't use developing research as an excuse to attack minority groups. I like your shirt. Thank you. All right. Let's finish up here. Come on. Keegan with a very kind 10 Canadian. Oh, wait, I just did that one. Elusive Zoidberg with the 10 euros. Have you seen Jackson Hinkle got a vid flagged? Not only are his fans blaming you in the comments, they're saying you spoke with YouTube directly to get him taken down. Dude, I don't care that much, okay? I have like 50 other notches in my belt. Chill. Holy fuck. The only time I get reminded of any of this is, like, I swear to God. Okay, no, I didn't talk to YouTube, okay? I talked to the FBI, and they talked to YouTube, okay? I have to see the comment section. 1 second. It really does speak towards their deference to conspiracy, doesn't it? Like, it really is kind of creepy. Yeah, here we go. I have noticed that everyone who really puts Vosh in their place has issues with their channel. Meanwhile, Vosh's channel is being boosted to the point I'm not even subscribed, and yet I will see his videos before yours, and I am subscribed to you and hit the bell. I also paid God. Man, they really do think that I'm like from a Hollywood billionaire dynasty. Why did I let myself get banned from Twitch if that's the case? Why have my subs stalled for the past 8 months if that's the case? Like, what? I love it. Damn, I can't believe the anti-Assadists control YouTube, huh? Woo. You should show chat my D&D art. Is it safe for work? Ah, you cropped out the titties. I see. It is safe for work. Look, Vermin does character art for the campaigns that they're in. It's super cute. Blah. I like the little rabbit. This is actually, after all the Zootopia, not Lola Bunny, Judy Hopps hentai I've seen, this is like the least fuckable rabbit. Not like, no, she's cute. I'm not saying she's ugly. I'm just saying this is the least sexualized rabbit furry anthro that I've seen in a while, you know? Okay. All right. Let's finish these donos. Pseudonyms, the very kind tier 2 sub. Have you seen the movie Jesus Camp? It's a good explainer of why the right is the way it is right now. Faith and politics intertwined from a really young age. I have, actually, I think. I'm fairly confident, yeah. And it's insane. Still alive in Iridian Night. Thank you for the $5 both. I really, really appreciate that. True. Your favorite of these fantasy creatures? Orcs, goblins, trolls, ogres, gremlins, and gargoyles. It kind of depends on the piece of media, right? I mean, it depends on how they're being invoked. I generally like orcs, though. Christian Nielsen, thank you for the incredibly kind $20. Coconut, true, and based. And finally, Juniversal with the unbelievably kind $50 donation. The left needs to start exposing conservative figureheads for being fake populists and representing the elite class. Billionaire Trump, child actor Crowder, daddy's boy Kirk, same with Shapiro. The fake populism with these silver spooners is gross. Yeah, not to mention Tucker Carlson, you know, heir to the, what was it, the Swanson fortune, whatever, that frozen food, who has said that he always backs, like, the establishment candidate and that he worships billionaires, but pretends to be some kind of, like, populist hero of the working class. They need to capitalize on it for the same reason the Nazis of old did. The fact of the matter is, economic arguments that they sincerely believe in are not appealing to the average person. The real economic arguments of the Republican Party are no regulations so corporations can make infinite money, allow your jobs to be outsourced as much as possible, no unions, no pay, nobody cares about you. just doesn't appeal to people that much. So they have to pretend that they're agents of the working class, that they're advocating for radical populist change, but always in a very non-specific way, holding the elites to the account, but not taxing them or regulating them or building unions or raising the minimum wage or anything like that. You know, like we're holding them to account by, I don't know. Where's the, hold on. There it is. Let me load this up. Not Pog. So for those of you who somehow aren't aware of this, California, the state of California, they have sued Activision Blizzard over unequal pay and sexual harassment. And this has led to a catastrophic domino toppling of people coming out with their own stories. The basic premise is this. Video game studio, which is behind hit franchises, etc., is facing a civil lawsuit in California over allegations of gender discrimination, sexual harassment, and potential violation of the state's equal pay law. A complaint filed by the State Department of Fair Employment and Housing on Wednesday alleges that Blizzard, quote, fosters a sexist culture where women are paid less than men and subjected to ongoing sexual harassment. Officials at the gaming company knew about the harassment and not only failed to stop it, but retaliated against women who spoke up. Here we talk about Gamergate, which is delightful. I want to talk about this for a second. This actually feels kind of personal to me. I don't normally care that much about big studios, but I have a deep affinity for Blizzard. Blizzard was like the OG game company. You know, I remember back when I was a kid, I had Apple computers. I had Macs, you know, and because they were shiny, I don't know. And of course, no games were on Macintosh computers, and nothing, you know. But there was one studio that would make top tier games for both Mac and PC, and that was Blizzard. I don't know why they did it, but for some reason, in an era where mainstream games were never made for the Mac, they would do it. Not only would they make their games playable both on Mac and PC, it'd be on the same disc, right? Wasn't it? The discs would come loaded with 2 installers. It would have the exe and the what's the file for a Mac installer? I forget. CMD? No. DMG. That it? Yeah. They would have it just both in there, and you could just play it. And man, Blizzard back in the day, they were like the early Pixar of game studios, man. Like I got in at StarCraft 1 and then Brood War, and those legitimately some of the best games ever made. And then Warcraft 3, incredible. And World of Warcraft, I was playing that back in the beta, back in like 2005 or something. And it was phenomenal. And, you know, eventually, they got bought by Activision, which I think significantly decreased the quality of the company. And by the way, anyone who's been following Blizzard for any length of time does in fact know that the Activision purchase was bad for Blizzard's internal culture. But what I'm talking about here probably isn't new to Activision. They sold to Activision. Yeah, they sold. Yeah. Yeah. But what we're talking about here is not really a new phenomena. Not at all. Anyway, the lawsuit alleges that Activision Blizzard, I'm just going to call them Blizzard, okay? I'm just going to call them Blizzard, all right? Female workers who spoke to investigators almost universally confirmed that their time at the company was, quote, akin to working in a frat house. Male employees drank on the job and came to work hungover. Okay, so this explains Warlords of Draenor, I guess. The lawsuit said, the alleged sexual harassment ranged from comments about women's bodies and jokes about rape, the classic, thank you, to unwanted touching of female employees by their male peers. Phenomenal. The complaint, which was the result of a 2-year investigation by the DFEH, wow, claims that the unequal treatment of women went beyond company culture to the more formal parts of their jobs. Women were allegedly paid less than men, both when they were hired and during the course of their employment. They were also assigned to lower-level positions and passed over for promotions, despite doing more work than their male peers in some cases, according to the lawsuit. One woman said her manager told her she wouldn't be promoted because she, quote, might get pregnant and like being a mom too much. How do you... If you're a manager, do you not know basic law on what you can and can't? Like, I'm just saying, like, the sentiment is disgusting, but also the stupidity. Why would you say this out loud? You know? Why wouldn't you keep the actionable bigotry in your head so you don't create a lawsuit in the future? You know? The sex discrimination was even worse for women of color, the suit claims. Not surprising. At least 2 African-American women reported being singled out and micromanaged. Some of the women who came forward with complaints of discrimination or harassment faced involuntary transfers, were selected for layoffs, or were denied certain opportunities, the suit said. So, I've never worked in the games industry. However, I know a lot of people who have. And one of the ways people in this company and in this industry are allowed to get away with so much, or able to get away with so much, is because for a lot of companies, working there is like a dream job, okay? When you work at Blizzard, that is like a, if you get a degree in like computer science, you go work for Blizzard, like that is like a miracle job. Blizzard, you know? It's like working for Pixar or Disney. It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's same with Hollywood. You're grateful just to be there. And in an environment like that, you're going to work harder, you're going to work overtime, and you're not going to complain. So imagine how bad the environment has to be for there to be this much of a culture of outspoken criticism, you know? This is not a job people go to and then immediately think, I'm going to find something to complain about. They're going to shut up. They're going to take it. People who are being harassed because they don't want to threaten their employment. And clearly, since Blizzard did retaliate against people who spoke out, they were right to fear that. It is abuse. Exactly. It is no different than a partner abusing you but convincing you you can't find anything better. Though in this case, the abuse is almost self-perpetuating because the you can't find anything better is actually a notion reinforced by the fact that, yeah, Blizzard actually is a huge, powerful, and respected gaming company. It sets the pretense, like, at the beginning, and you can get away with a lot of harassment because of it. Activision Blizzard, in the statement, said it did not tolerate sexual misconduct or harassment and noted that investigated all claims, adding it was making it easier for employees to report violations. Very, very nice. The company said, we think this is all bad and this is unfair and blah, blah. We know how this goes. So let's get past all the boring stuff and go to where the real journalism is. The World of Warcraft subreddit. No, not this one. This one. Thank you. First-hand account of harassment at Blizzard, trigger warning.
Look, I'm trying to be a positive person, so I don't like making posts like this. It's for my friends that I made while working at Blizzard Entertainment that I don't want to say anything at all. So if you know what's going on with Blizzard, you know they're being sued by California for a toxic environment that includes sexual harassment, among other things. And in their response, they said this does not represent who Blizzard is. Yes, it does. And it has for a long time. Since my first day back in 2012, I was sexually harassed, and women have it way worse. One of my employees was told by a technical director to her face in front of witnesses during one of these cube crawls that absolutely do exist, that he didn't like her because she wasn't giving him head. When an employee was sexually assaulted at a holiday party, we had to fight tooth and nail with HR to get them to take any action, through which they victimized her and blamed her. Now we've got an employee who's taken her own life, seemingly because of the treatment that she experienced at the hands of her leadership and her coworkers. Yeah, it's real. It's you. Be better.
We will try to be better. I am heartened by one thing, and it's that, as far as I can tell, the overwhelming community response here has been incredibly critical of Blizzard. Like, this is not 2016 anymore, where the worst parts of the internet would immediately just freak out about this. The community seems to be a lot better about this. I can scroll through the World of Warcraft subreddit if you like, but I spent some time looking through it this morning, and yeah, it's a ton of people being super... Oh, wait, never mind. I'm deaf here. Can someone write a quick transcript of what's being said? I was going to say every single top comment is explicitly critical of the culture being described here, but this guy's deaf, so the subsequent comments would say that. But you can go on and on and on and on and on. And really, it just seemed like overwhelming. It's not just the users either. This is a joint statement from the moderators. I saw a similar post being made on Overwatch. Yeah, look at this. WoW, Overwatch, Hearthstone, StarCraft, Heroes of the Storm, Diablo, Warcraft 3, Classic WoW, WoW Economy, Competitive Hearthstone, Blizzard, and Warcraft 3. Which is actually really sweet. Like, all the moderators of all these Blizzard-associated franchises subreddits, they all came together and they were like, yeah, fuck this. Here's a statement, which I guess I'll read now. As moderators of the subreddits for Activision Blizzard's games, we vehemently condemn the sexual harassment and hostile working environment alleged in the recent lawsuit between Activision Blizzard and the state of California. We will not be censoring this topic on our subreddits. We do not serve Activision Blizzard. We are unpaid volunteers with no affiliation to the company. Above all else, we serve our individual communities. We believe this is an important discussion to be had. I think that's really nice. It's not at all uncommon for moderators to either, like, have... So, something that'll often happen in, like, subreddits is the moderators will actually have connections to people at the company, and sometimes the people at the company will encourage the moderators to censor certain, like, points of discourse or control discussion in certain ways. But in this case, it looks like it's just, you know? Having said that, discussions surrounding this topic still need to adhere to the rules of our subreddit. Victim blaming, sexism, and harassment of others will not be tolerated, so on and so forth. We stand by the victims of the situation. We call for these issues to be addressed by Activision Blizzard appropriately and exhaustively. As a group of moderators, we're deeply saddened by these events, so on and so on. It's good. It's good. It really is good. It's the same on all the other ones. You can find the same post on our Overwatch. And yeah, look, here's that same video that we took a look at on our Overwatch with nearly 30,000 upvotes, which is a lot for the subreddit. Same one. Maybe even posted by the same guy. Come on. Hit the pause button. I don't want you going on. Come on. Come on. Worst video player in existence. Thank you. For clarity, this is a current personnel manager at Blizzard as per his LinkedIn. Pretty brave of him to speak up. Yeah, it just... Someone at Blizzard killed themselves. Yep, she killed herself on a business trip because her superior brought sex toys with him on that trip. Wait! I don't know the details of this one. Because her superior brought sex toys with him on that trip, I suppose it was for her, or maybe it was a tactic used to demean her. I'm not really sure. Her nudes were also passed around by her male coworkers. Pretty fucked. Well. Read the actual complaint here. Read this whole thing on stream? Oh, okay, hold on. It's double-spaced. The nudes were passed around after she died, by the way. Oh! That comment was wrong, by the way. Oh, hold on. Does this go to page 10? Thank you. Page 10. That's page 6. 8. Page 10. All right. So pursuant to give notice, purpose, investigation, mediation, class. The DFEH brought this government enforcement action to be pursuant, personal action. Page 9, I think. Why would you lie to me? I don't think I can search for words on this page. Actually, page 8. Yeah, I bet. Hold on. Procedural history, jurisdiction, and venue. DFEH's investigation found female employees were subject to sexual harassment. Found reasonable steps to take it. Common committee violations, paid less for the same work. Mandatory disputes. Yeah, one of you is going to need to find this, sorry. Oh, here we have specific examples here. In another example, a female employee who worked at Blizzard Entertainment was assigned to a lower level, denied equal pay, and passed over for a promotion despite multiple factors suggesting she earned it. Highly rated performance reviews. Section 6. Section 6? What is Section 6? What is a section? This? Oh, here we go. Unsurprisingly, defendants' frat boy culture is a breeding ground for harassment and discrimination against women. Female employees are subjected to constant sexual harassment, including have to constantly fend off unwanted sexual comments and advances by their male coworkers and supervisors, and being groped at the cube crawls and other company events. High-ranking executives and creators engaged in blatant sexual harassment without repercussions. In a particularly tragic example, a female employee committed suicide during a business trip. During the trip? Jesus! With a male supervisor who had brought butt plugs and lubricant with him on the trip. Defendants continually condone the quid pro quo and hostile work environment. The message is not lost on their employees. Well, there we go, I guess. Page 14. Thank you. You really have to wonder. Sexual harassment. Jesus. Female employees almost universally confirmed that working for defendants was akin to working in a frat house, which invariably involved male employees drinking and subjecting female employees to sexual harassment with no repercussions. Cube crawls in defendants' offices were common, and male employees proudly came into work hungover. Similarly, male employees would play video games during work, engage in banter about their sexual encounters, talk openly about female bodies, and make numerous jokes about rape. As a product of this frat boy culture, women were subjected to numerous sexual comments and advances, groping and unwanted physical touching, and other forms of harassment. A female employee noted that random male employees would approach her on defendant's work site and comment on her breasts. Female employees working for the WoW team noted that male employees and supervisors would hit on them, make derogatory comments about rape, and engage in otherwise demeaning behavior. This behavior was known to supervisors and indeed encouraged by them, including a male supervisor openly encouraging a male subordinate to buy a prostitute to cure his bad mood. All right. Wait, how long is... Alex Afrasiabi, former senior creative director of WoW at Blizzard Entertainment, was permitted to engage in blatant sexual harassment with no repercussions. During a company event, he'd hit on female employees, telling him he wanted to marry him, attempt to kiss them, put his arms around him. Afrasiabi was known to engage in harassment of females, that his suite was named the Crosby Suite after the alleged rapist Bill Cosby. Okay. Number 48 is the worst. Specifically, at the holiday party before her death, male coworkers were alleged to be passing around a picture of the deceased vagina. Lovely. All right. Okay. I think we get the gist. Thank you. We've done it. We are familiar now. So, yeah, didn't we just have a conversation with somebody on whether or not rape culture is a thing? It's funny because, like, the frat bro culture being used to describe a super, like, nerdy gaming company is funny, but was the nerd jock dichotomy really ever real? Or was it just different ways of performing toxic masculinity in different environments, you know? It's either we harass women at the local smash meet or we harass women at the frat club party, you know? It's just yikes. What will the consequences be for this? Well, I'll say this much, okay? First of all, overwhelming condemnation of Blizzard everywhere I look. If you want to look around, you'll find some people who are saying that the women are all lying or whatever. Overwhelmingly, though, the approach here, or the perspective here, is anti Blizzard. Yeah, WoW guilds are quitting. Didn't they do a sit-in WoW? They did they did a protest in game, which is kind of adorable, you know? I mean, it's a WoW sit-in. But yeah, I heard there were people that, like, in a bunch of different servers who were doing stuff like that. Like, it's all they know. Okay? Even the Call of Duty community called it out. This is going to hurt Activision bad. Well, it sounds horrific. I mean, like, genuinely, like beyond, like, you expect, with companies like this, you'd expect a little bit of sexual harassment just because it seems to be a component of, like, big developer culture, and it's bad, but, like, that's, like, whatever amount that you would expect, this is far above it, you know? This isn't an amount of sexual harassment where I hear it and go, oh, that's to be expected, I guess. Like, that's shitty, and that's the amount of shitty I expect. This is apocalyptic. You know? Yeah, it's genuinely terrible. Yeah, when the Call of Duty community is calling you out for sexism. Woo! Anyway, we also have a response from Chris Metzen. Hold on, let me bring this up. Who? Chris Metzen. We failed, and I'm sorry. To all of you at Blizzard, those of you I know and those of you I've never met, my deepest apologies. There's no excuse. We failed too many people. When did Chris Metzen quit again? He's a creative lead. When did he quit again? This is the Thrall guy. 2018. Yeah, he was here for this. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, okay? I don't know how much I care about this. This feels like an oopsie too late kind of situation. There is no way a guy in this position who was there at Blizzard for that long didn't know what was going on, and he was in a position of power too. Like, like, maybe there's some edge case here where, like, somehow he was some, like, creative auteur who never engaged with anyone and just didn't see anything, or, like, he just didn't notice it, or he's dumb or whatever. Like, I don't know. The most likely, like, to me, the most likely shit here is that, like, now that he's distanced, like, now he can get, like, we failed and I'm sorry. I don't know. From what I've heard, he tried, but he didn't do enough. Did he push back at the time? I do remember reading that Chris Metzen was a better guy than some of his contemporaries, but I don't know. Unless we as individuals, and by we I mostly mean men, start to walk in far greater awareness, compassion, and empathy for the women around us, in the whole of our lives, not just at work, then nothing changes. So many of us have women we cherish in our lives. I am a father of 3, including 2 daughters, and I want them to flourish in workplaces of their choosing, but we shouldn't need a special connection to the women in our lives in order to protect them, to listen to them, and to give them space. Vosh, he did another post talking about his involvement. Also, he left Blizzard because the work conditions were horrible and he developed severe mental issues. He's been very tight-lipped about the details. It is really tough to say. Vosh, what is one person supposed to do against an entire workplace culture besides complain and or quit, especially with no ability to unionize? Well, Chris Metzen wasn't like a random guy. He wasn't like just a random individual, you know. He kind of was the guy. He was the dude. Not just like some random corporate head either. American game designer, artist, and voice actor, known for his work creating the fictional universes and scripts for Blizzard Entertainment's 3 major award-winning franchises, Warcraft, Diablo, and StarCraft. Animator and artist. Yeah. He was a super, super well-known... Like, he was one of the most well-known figures to people who are fans of the franchises that he's created. Well, it's possible that he could have done more. Maybe this is all he could do. I don't know. Probably not. I remember people here being super critical of him. How much did you know about Alex Afrasiabi and his behavior? Remember the Bill Cosby guy? He was your hand-picked successor, after all. A good question from one Twitter user. When returned to ask the war chief question back at BlizzCon 2018, Chris Metzen said, "It's one of the things I miss most about work, that sexy man right there," referring to Afrasiabi. Massive blind spot, lack of awareness, complicit. I don't know. It's hard to say. But it's difficult to imagine with a culture of workplace sexism this pervasive that he couldn't have been aware of at least some of what was going on. Awful lot of carefully curated I should have done better apologies from the old guard coming out. Metzen chose Afrasiabi as its successor and should have known better. To be fair, Thrall was never good at choosing successors either. Nice meme! In joke! Haha, everyone who's played WoW. Haha, get it, because he's the voice actor for Thrall, and he chose Garrosh, and that went poorly. I love just scrolling through WoW Reddit while talking about this. It feels like such a tonal dissonance, you know? A lot of people here doubting Metzen, and personally, I don't know, it does feel hollow. For all accounts, Metzen seems like a decent guy, and I want to give him the benefit of the doubt that he doesn't know because Afrasiabi didn't engage in that kind of behavior when he was around. My girlfriend is in HR. Okay, don't believe anything said here. There isn't a single executive in her company that would be aware of any assaults or molestations that she's investigating because they're doing different things. Just like she isn't aware of what the executives are doing. That's kind of what happens in large 1,000+ person companies. I don't think that's true. The idea that the executives don't know about the culture, I don't know if I believe that. That seems like bull to me. Anything here is just abject speculation. There's not much else I can really say. Let me see this. What is this article? This is, oh, this is fun. Bobby Kotick, CEO of Activision Blizzard, our guy, lost $1.5 million in lawsuits related to sexual harassment, failure to prevent sexual harassment, and wrongful termination following the retaliatory sacking of a female employee who refused to be an escort for a fellow employee and referred it to management. Wait, he fired a woman, an employee, because she wouldn't be an escort for another employee? This is from 2010. Look at this website design. Literally trying to pimp out his employees. Madvig, who worked as a flight attendant on the jet, claimed that Berg had pressured her in 2006 to be his arm candy by accompanying him to dinners and outings during layovers. When she refused, Berg, quote, set out to make life miserable for Madvig, she alleged. The lawsuit said Berg compelled her to clean the plane's toilets repeatedly while leering at her. What the fuck? He just glared at her while she cleaned toilets? What are these? Why are these people such psychopaths? It's not just like, it goes beyond like casual disregard for women's consent, you know? Like lad culture or whatever. These people are fucking insane. Jesus. 2 months later, Kotick fired her. Yeah, good for her, I guess. Jeez. She filed suit 2 months later. Seriously good for her. And this is what led to the $1.5 million, yeah. Whew. Jesus. How long till we discover they like fucking kids? Isn't this guy, Bobby Kotick, on the Epstein flight logs? Bobby Kotick Epstein. Just a reminder that Bobby... Okay, So remember how the moderators on the WoW Reddit weren't censoring anything? Well, here's a Blizzard forum controlled by the company. Just a reminder that Bobby Kotick, the CEO of the board that I'm on, was affiliated with Epstein. Well, let's go to censorship-free Reddit. But only if you want to load, you know, the Reddit page. You know, only if you want to load the Reddit page. Activision CEO Bobby Kotick linked to Jeffrey Epstein. I was hoping for, like, a news article or something. He's on page 36. Jesus. For the first time, here we are, looking through Epstein's Black Book on stream. We all knew one day this is where our fight against corporate America would take us. All right. It's on page 69. Hold on, let me see if I can... Where is it? Bobby... Bobby... Wait, what is it? 36? If this is alphabetical, why would it be 36? Hold on. Kotick, that starts with a K? Right? That's what Kotick sounds like. Here we go. Wait, hold on. 31. Kissinger, Dr. Henry A. Kotick. Kotick Bobby? Is this supposed to be it? I don't think this is it, guys. That's not the right Kotick Bobby. That's misspelled on both accounts. Oh, wait. At Activision.com. Ah. Wait, so did, like, Epstein just miswrite his name? He was like, what are you? Bobby Kotick? Bobby Kotick. Just wrote it down? Seriously? Is that might actually be it, huh? Well, yeah. Using your business email on the Epstein Lolita Express. Very, very big brain. Well, the email being associated there kind of cinches it, as far as I'm concerned. Don't care. Don't ask. Don't respond. Let's can we end this on a positive note? J. Allen Brack addresses Blizzard staff over sexism scandal. Activism doubles down on deflection. Nice. Is this going to be a happy ending here? Bloomberg's Jake Schreier published a leaked memo from Blizzard's J. Allen Brack. Ah, you're like an investigator. So this is a leaked internal document from within the company, and they can't admit wrongdoing here for legal reasons. But let's see. Hello, Blizzard. I personally have a lot of emotions coming out of yesterday, and I know you do too. The allegations on the hurt of current and former employees are extremely troubling. I know many of you would like to receive more clarity. While I can't comment on the specifics of the case as it's an open investigation, what I can say is that the behavior detailed in the allegations is completely unacceptable. It goes without saying that it is completely unacceptable for anyone in the company to face discrimination or harassment. It goes without saying that everyone should feel safe working here, whether we're on campus at BlizzCon or working from home. It goes without saying it takes courage to come forward, and all claims brought to the company are investigated by internal and, when needed, external investigators. We take it... Oh, it goes with saying. Sorry, I've never actually seen with saying here, but I guess that is more appropriate. So I just reflexively said without saying. Claims can be made without fear of retaliation, and many times I attend to them personally along with the other leaders. When I see stuff like this, you know, when I look at content like this, what I think of more than anything else is like, to what extent is it active and to what extent is it passive? People who work at Activision Blizzard, the company culture, that leads to so much harassment, how much of it is because these degenerates, they're harassing the women, they like it, they don't care? How much of it is just people sitting there ignoring it because they do not think there's any way to make it better? They don't think that there's anything they can do about it, you know? Double check Jason Schreier's following post. Yes. Activision Blizzard executive Fran Townsend, who was the Homeland Security advisor to George W. Bush from 2004 to 2007 and joined Activision in March, sent out a very different kind of email that has some Blizzard employees fuming. All right. And here's our Homeland Security advisor. Vosh, Google her. I don't need to. This is the pro-torture lady, right? Why do you keep mispronouncing Jason's name? To trigger you. Hello, everyone. As the executive sponsor for the ABK Employee Women's Network and our chief compliance officer, I wanted to reach out to you. I know this has been difficult for many of us. A recently filed lawsuit presented a distorted and untrue picture of our company. Oh no. Including factually incorrect old and out-of-context stories, some from more than a decade ago. The Activision company of today, and the Activision companies I know, are great companies with good values. When I joined the executive leadership team, I was certain that I'd be joining a company where I'd be valued, treated with respect, and provided equal opportunity to those afforded to the men in the company. For me, this has been true during my time. As a leader, I'm committed to make sure the experience I have is the same as the rest of the organization. We have a leadership team that is committed to these principles in every way. Do you think that, like, even if she's telling the truth, which she worked for Bush's Homeland Security, so why would I ever believe she's telling the truth about anything? Do you think that maybe joining as an executive might insulate you against some of the harassment other women are getting? Yeah, if she joined this company in March, she's been here for about 4 months. She came in as an executive, and she's been here for 4 months. And a lot of the claims that are being investigated here took place before she was even at the company. I'm proud to be a part of the company that takes a hardline approach to inappropriate or hostile work environments and sexual harassment issues. Our Speak Up campaign, reinforces our zero tolerance for retaliation against those who do speak up. We've made significant investments to foster inclusive behaviors and to reflect greater diversity within our leadership teams, including investing in and strengthening our DE&I employee networks, introducing learning and development programs, amplifying internal programs. God, corporate speak gives me a fucking migraine. Reinforcing channels for employees to report violations, introducing an employee relations team dedicated to investigating employee concerns, continuing to require all employees to take equality and diversity training. This really does feel like it was written by a sci-fi author trying to describe, like, the humiliating and alienating language of corporate speak in the future, you know? We put tremendous effort into creating fair compensation policies that reflect our blah, blah, blah. Okay, so yeah, all right, we get the gist. Very nice. Very, very nice. And people are mad about it. Oh, so now the war criminal is going to preach to us. True. And based. Yeah. So there wasn't really much of a structure to all of that. But I do feel like we learned something. What did we learn here? Well, first of all, Blizzard Activision sucks to work at. Really sucks to work at. Second of all, claims of workplace harassment should be taken seriously and signal boosted whenever possible. Third, if you work at a company like that, you have essentially a moral responsibility to do whatever you can to fight back against that culture. Fourth, I really just want to make a bunch of jokes about how, like, Blizzard games suck lately just because all the guys apparently spend all their time getting drunk and harassing women and playing video games during, like, work. But I mean, is this unironically true? I mean, they're like the lads are stumbling around drunk and, like, the women are, like, desperately trying to code shit together. I don't know. It sounds pretty bad over there. You going to unsub from WoW then? Well, I did that anyway because I stopped playing it. But if you're asking if people have a responsibility to boycott, I'm generally not the type to advocate for boycotts. You can do it if you want. It's good if you do it, but like, just I've been online long enough to know this. Okay, there are a lot of people who would physically combust if they had to stop playing World of Warcraft. Okay, there are some people out there, the friends they have on there, the community and culture they have on there, all that stuff is like literally their whole social life. And whatever your opinions on that, I'm not going to say like it is so important you stop giving people $15 a month that you have to destroy your whole social life, you know? Like I don't that's I don't if you want to go for it. I'm just saying like I'm not going to get mad at you for being like, yeah, I don't have much else. I work 2 wagey cagey jobs and this is like where my friends are and this is where I, you know, still keep up with my high school friends and we don't have much else at the moment. I just really like doing, you know, mythic dungeons with them. I'm not going to look unsub from WoW, you bigot. Like, you know, okay. You can if you want. It's good if you do. I'm doing my part, okay? I never bought a single loot chest in Overwatch, okay? That's me doing my part, okay? In however many years that game has been out, not once. That's me. Never bought a pack in Hearthstone. Never bought a loot chest in Overwatch. For a while, I didn't even have to pay for WoW because I made enough gold doing alchemy and herbalism farming that I could buy my own WoW tokens. Never bought Overwatch porn. That goes to talented artists, okay? Not to Blizzard. Also, imagine buying porn. I bought Reforged. Yeah. Warcraft 3 Reforged was a shit show. Oh, I will say this, though, okay? I probably will buy Diablo 2 Reforged. Listen, I'll pay whatever it costs, $40 for it, and then I'll give $40 to, like, a homeless guy, okay? I'm sorry, I want to play it. It's probably going to suck, but I want to play it. Also, I still... Every once in a while, I mail Blizzard a check full of $100 bills, and it's just attached to a note that says, "Thank you for StarCraft Brood War Remastered," you know? And that's it, basically. That's the whole... I don't know if they even, like, put them in their bank account. But I really liked StarCraft Remastered. It was really good, you know? This makes me happy. I'm happy. Don't get Warcraft 3 Reforged, though. Perfect timing.
I went all the way downstairs.
All the way downstairs? Yeah? Is that true, Shitamy? How does the mic aux plug smell? Probably like metal, I'd guess. Or maybe rubber.
Boss bad, boss bad, boss bad.
Your spine is going to fold back in on itself. Yeah? 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 He's cute.
All right. Be free.
Nose bites really, really hurt. I don't mind, like, he bites my arm or hand when I play with him. I don't care at all. But, like, nose bites really hurt. They hurt so much more. Hold on. Yep. Close enough. Yeah, nose bites really hurt. Yeah, I got a scar on my nose for a while once, remember? I had that little red mark and people kept asking about it. Let me blow my nose. We got more to talk about. Whew. It also hurts if you get bitten around the eye. Yeah, they like to bite like here too, like the eyebrow area. You know? Which really fucking hurts, by the way. Oh. Yeah, let's catch up on donos real quick, and then we'll get back to it. Oh, actually, chat. What if I shilled for a second? First of all, you should sub if you're not. Why not, huh? Second of all, you guys are missing out by not being subbed to the Vosh Pit. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you people? Come on. The analytics on this thing are blowing up. What are we talking about? Look at this. What are these analytics? What's even happening right now? 18,000 views in 3 hours on a channel that's a month old? Are you kidding me? Are you beefing me right now? Look at that. Look at these analytics. What's happening over here? These views. They're crazy. Oh my God. I've said this before, but I'll reiterate just so everybody understands. The goal of this channel is that the algorithm is kind of complicated. And as I understand it, what I want to do is every day on this main channel, I want to put out like one good video. Good and edited. My main channel, the one you're watching on right now, not the Vosh Pit. One good main edited video. Just like a big solid, you know, a big chunker, a big chungus, you know? And over here, I want to put everything else. All the little weird rants we do between segments. Because what I noticed is the clip channels are getting so much content off of me because I'm always dropping bangers. And I just don't upload them. Honestly. Didn't Coconut Island upload the OK Buddy segment too? We uploaded it at the same time, which I feel bad about. Coconut Island is a friend of the channel, and it's totally okay. Anyway. Yep. You want to go over the Trump-Arizona rally today? Sure. Wait. Vosh, something I don't understand is when in porn and they're fucking, why do they not use both of their hands to hold the waist or legs? Why? I cannot understand why. You block sight lines on the camera. Normal, actual human sex doesn't work that well on porn because you kind of block all the actionable bits. By the way, you notice this with porn too. It's that when the sex is being filmed from a side angle, the assuming het coupling, the male actor will tilt his torso slightly towards the camera, meaning that his cock is going in like kind of at an angle, but he does that just so you have more like a camera room to see it going in and out. There are a ton of positions in porn that are super uncomfortable in real life. It's not even worth trying them, really. That seems uncomfortable. Well, they're not doing it to be comfortable. They're doing it to make a porn movie, you know? Yeah. Name one sex position that doesn't work that well in real life? I guess I'm not thinking of any off the top of my head. Reverse cowgirl is dangerous, though. Like, people do that all the time, but it is dangerous. I think most dick breaks take place as a product of that. Yeah, bent dick syndrome. That's scary. Your dick can break. Yeah, that's real. I'm not joking. Penile fractures. Face sitting is fucked up. That could be fine. Just go on, I don't know, just go on like wacky sex positions and just go find some. Most of them don't work or feel that well, you know? The general rule is that you can do more sex positions effectively the more physically fit you are, like the stronger you are to hold each other up or do backflips or whatever. That's like the big line, you know? So like maybe there's stuff that to me is uncomfortable, but if two gymnasts were doing it, like maybe two gymnasts can just do everything, you know? Maybe the Karma Sutra was written by two gymnasts, like Indian gymnasts or something, and they're like, yeah, dude, anyone can do this. Obviously. Dude, just put your feet behind your head. Whatever. And then, you know, and the rest of us are just caught lacking. I used to be able to put both feet behind my head while sitting down. I did used to be able to do that. Used to be quite good at yoga. Bisexual sitting, yeah. Can you do it while standing? No. Look at this. What is this? Somebody find me a link to the Trump Arizona rally. How long did it last? Was it a full rally, like the full hour, 2 hours, or was he part of like a broader? Vosh, Caledonia Police Department responds to viral video of officer. Yeah, I saw this. We went over this. We went over this on stream yesterday. Jimmy Dore link, sorry. Did anyone see Jimmy Dore go back on Tucker Carlson? Let me see. Oh yeah, I saw this. I wanted to talk about the Medicare for All thing. It's super annoying because like the Medicare for All marches, the March for Medicare for All, seemed like they were pretty cool. But like man, when you grift, you grift. Jimmy Dore is amazing, man.
Medicare for all, Medicare now, no more waiting, put pressure on politicians, make them scared of you, make them scared to death of you, fuck the politicians, let's go to their houses. Medicare for all, thank you, I'll see you later.
By the way, the politicians he's saying you should go to the houses of are like Bernie Sanders and AOC. Not leave alone the fact that exactly 0 Republicans support Medicare for all, you know? Like, all right. You know, whatever. All right. There's goobs. Is a C-SPAN link okay? Yeah, always. C-SPAN's pretty good. The Sam Cedar moment got remixed. I've seen this. Didn't he recently say that Pelosi would primary AOC from the left? Yeah, he's completely fucking insane. We should probably like stop talking about Jimmy Dore. What can I do to talk about Jimmy Dore or any of the other like Assad left that is going to convince any of those people, you know? What can I do? Here, hold on. 5.5 hours. TPUSA Student Action Summit in Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, so Trump can't be here for all of this, right? Let me, there's Charlie Kirk. Hey, we're going to be seeing this guy in person in like a week. Here, hold on.
Exist unless you're the Houston Astros and you did something you shouldn't have done to go win a certain sports championship. The Democrats in 2020 are the Houston Astros of American politics, stealing signs, cutting corners, and lying the entire way. And I can tell you right now, the deeper we dive into this, the nastier they're going to get. And I want to compliment one group of people. I want to compliment the heroes in the State House and the State Senate that have kept this audit going and have kept fighting to find the truth. You guys deserve credit for what you have done.
Oh, because the Phoenix, Arizona audit. Okay, gotcha. He's doing Trump hand gestures. Yeah, Charlie Kirk is one of those empty suit types. It's one of the reasons why, like, he's not a debate opponent I care that much about. Like, at least Shapiro seems to have some kind of weird, like, prodigy boy vibe thing going on. But like, Charlie Kirk really is just a talking head. I don't think he believes anything. Wasn't the audit proven to be an incredible sham? Would it matter to them? On the M4A March, I was a part of them for a bit, so we can have a march in Hartford. The leadership is full of force the voters. When I mentioned potentially inviting you, they said you were a pedo and a racist. They'll let Nazis on, but not me. Well, probably because they don't disagree with Nazis that much. That is not surprising to me, though. I feel bad for all the people at those marches who actually do care about Medicare for all and aren't like the Hinkle or Jimmy Dore types who are just using it to get some attention. Remember that big speech that you just saw from Jimmy Dore? Like, you saw the 20 seconds of it? There was actually a photo of the crowd that he was speaking to, and there was nobody there. It was all cameras. Like, the way the cameras are looking up at him, you'd expect he'd be talking to hundreds of people, but it's actually just like 20 or so people with their cameras pointed at him, you know? Like, that's it. It's so synthetic. Let me pee, and then we'll find the... Hold on. Woo! Nearly came back with my fly unzipped.
Square that I encourage all of you.
Rhythms that they expose.
Hey, what's up?
Call me a liar. This is the Democrats in their own word.
Why the fuck is he swaying like that?
They showed this algorithm called skip and delete.
Do you know
It's
how...
really important to understand.
Wait, is he actually drunk? Do you know how microphones work? This is the Nick Fuentes congressman, right? This is the guy who pals around with Nazis. It is, right? Yeah, okay, yeah. What's it, Gosar? Gosar, yeah, Gosar, whatever.
Because when they did those 100 random ballots, there were 2 ballots that were off.
The white race is not
Those
sending
voted
their
for
best.
Donald Trump, by the way. The first one, they took that ballot and put it in a line with Joe Biden. When you take one and give one, that's 2%. The second one, they just deleted Donald Trump's ballot.
This is
There's your
unbelievable.
3%. Now, you could, like, once again.
Gosar just released a bill to ban all immigration from the U.S. You mean to the U.S., right? Not from the U.S. to the U.S.? That's funny.
I'll say, call me a liar.
Wait, Siri...
This is not me telling you this. This is the Democrats telling you this.
Is he being puppeted?
That's why it is important for us to stay the course.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is deranged. I am not going to sit here and pretend that this is an ordinary lack of charisma. This is insane. What is he on right now? He is literally, unironically, without hyperbole in any way, looks like he is being puppeted from the rafters. He legitimately looks like there are people above him articulating his body with those little cross puppet things that I don't really know how they work.
Full accountability of this audit.
Look at his slump. Is he wearing shoulder pads? He is. There's no way his shoulders rest like this naturally. Is he wearing a padded suit? What? Is this the 80s? Look at him. There's like a SCP skeleton nightmare wither underneath this suit, and they have like a brace holding the jacket up, like those metal frames that would make the dresses poofy back in Elizabethan England. This is better than anything Trump is doing right now, by the way.
And I got some good news.
What?
The same thing's happening in Georgia.
What?
The same thing is about ready to happen in Pennsylvania.
Bosch, he has spasms. Wait, does he have a neurological disorder? Is that true? Wait, he suffers from spasms? Is that true? He's not being puppeted? Oh no, is this an ableism thing now? Fuck! God damn it! I thought for sure I've seen this guy do public speeches before and that he didn't do this. God damn it! Yeah, we were having such a good time. Man, ableism really does ruin it for everyone. Gosar spasms. I swear to God that I've seen him speak before and that he didn't look anything like this. Does that account for everything? The freaking out, the head swinging around? Disorders don't act up all the time? Oh yeah, that's true. Five years ago, Gassar said he'd been concealing spasms in his hand that were caused by arthritis and two compressed vertegae. He then disclosed he'd undergone a hip replacement the previous summer and was in need of back surgery. No. It looks like it's expanded from his hand, like it used to be a hand issue. So maybe, like, I've just seen him otherwise. Ah, well. Now we know, don't we? The real ableism was me. Is it ableist to make fun of these people for their awful policies? No, you can do that. Yeah, now I'm canceled again.
And they say light max capacity.
Really? This? This is the vibe you want at your TPUSA conference? This is the vibe we're going with here? It's a good song. I'm not saying it's a bad song. I'm saying they're the ones playing. All right. Hey!
Our stock market is at an all-time high.
Oh shit, it's the
is at a 17-year
Trump
low.
Econ remix.
You missed me yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump!
The Trump Trap remix. Wait, what's with the tone shift? Why would you go from a trap remix to to this? Yeah. Do you think that oh my God, thank you so much. I'll check that dono out in a second. We have to see what the hell is about to go on right now. Do you think that if Trump just masturbated on stage, that they would let him do it? Like the music just continues and he just pulls one out and he just strokes it. And the music just keeps going. People keep cheering. I think they would. I don't think they'd break. Oh, unironically, I feel like I need to learn a lesson from this, okay? With Gassar, with his behavior, I feel like my mind always goes to drugs and never goes to neurological condition, and it's probably an actual problem. Like, I probably should think that, because I don't even think that. Like, I never think, haha, he's got a disability, let's make fun of it. I think this dude's coked up, and that's all I think. Like, it doesn't even occur to me, you know? So I should probably, like, reflexively think, like, maybe there's a reason he looks like he's being puppeted or something, you know? It could be both, Vosh. Sure, it could be both. But, like, the only point I'm trying to iterate is that my immediate thought is one of, these are some good drugs, and not, this is a disability to be mocked. Because the moment we learn it's a disability, none of us want to make fun of it anymore. So I don't think it's, you know what I mean? Like, the moment we learn, it's not like instantly it's like, oh, okay, so it's not something to be made fun of then. So I'd like to believe that's indicative of something positive in the community. I don't know.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you to Charlie for that introduction, which was so beautiful, and for your fearless leadership of Turning Point Action and Turning Point USA.
Oh, he's going to come.
Charlie, very much.
Oh, he's going to come. I get to talk to him a week after his post-orgasm bliss of talking to Trump.
Incredible appreciation to the thousands of bold, young, and proud American patriots that are with us today. What
He's
a
looking
crowd.
pale.
What a crowd.
Like less orange? He looks better. He does look better with less of the tanning solution.
And you think this is a lot of people, you ought to look outside. It's about 110 degrees or something. That's an incredible group. So thank you. Thank you to the people outside. We love you.
There are people outside too,
of our
probably.
movement. So true. And you are the ones who will make America great again. You know, I started saying, make America great again. Think of that. Think about that.
No, I don't want to think about it.
Nobody's done what we did in 4 years, the greatest economy, but we'll be talking about it. We have plenty of time. Does everybody have some time? Yeah?
So wait, did he succeed then? Wait, is he claiming that he succeeded in making America great again over his first term? Like, when he ended it with COVID and BLM and everything? Like, was that his success? What did he even do? What did he even do? I don't even know. He talked about bringing manufacturing jobs back, and then none of them actually came back. He continued Obama's economic, like, growth, but then he crashed it with poor COVID handling. What changed? Yeah, he killed 500,000 Americans. That was nice. Yeah, he drone striked far more than Obama. That was good. He abandoned our allies in Rojava. That was sick nasty. He cut taxes on the wealthy. That's cool.
I said I look.
He strengthened personal business relations with foreign countries. Thank you.
Forward to the speech. They said, oh, good. I said, how long a flight is it? About 5.5 hours, sir. I said, oh, well, man, can we maybe do it by Zoom? But Zoom will never replace the real thing. Do we agree?
I miss him.
Especially for our great young students. It cannot replace being in the classroom, can it? With your help, we will stand up for democracy and for justice.
No, but come on. Wouldn't it slap if Biden was like that? Like, Biden shows up and he's like, they told me it was a long flight. I asked, can't I, like, use Skype or something? And they said no. So here I am. I don't know. It's funny.
Justice, we will fight for truth, transparency, and accountability.
Really?
And we will not stop until we have restored our American birthright of honest, free, and fair elections.
while pushing forward dozens of voter
in
suppression
Phoenix
bills.
to show our support for election integrity and for the brave and unyielding conservative warriors in the Arizona State Senate. Thank you. Thank you. You've created a movement all over the country. This is now starting all over the country. I'm hearing Texas wants to do a forensic audit. I just heard that. Even though I won Texas by a lot, I said you should do it because you'll find out.
Wasn't there a state representative that's in Texas that said the state would have gone blue if it weren't for some of the discriminatory actions that took place? Can somebody find that article really quick? Texas would have gone blue. Here we go. The Texas Attorney General says Trump would have lost state if it hadn't blocked mail-in ballot applications being sent out. It would have flipped to blue. Legit, like, this should be like the headline people read before rioting. But nobody cares because we all know Republicans don't give a fuck about democracy. The state of Texas would have gone blue. What a win that would have been. The Attorney General said he would have lost Texas 2020 if his office had not successfully blocked counties from mailing out applications for mail-in ballots to all registered voters. We could have had Blexus. If we'd lost Harris County, Trump won by 620,000 votes in Texas. Harris County mail-in ballots that they wanted to send out were 2.5 million. Those were all illegal, and we were able to stop every single one of them. So these are just ballots being sent to houses. There's not, like, fake counted votes or anything like that. Harris County is Houston, by the way. Yep. Where the Dems live. Sheesh.
What's going on in this country, it's crazy. You know, when you hear defund the police, when you hear no IDs, of course, now they're trying to get into the, oh, we never really said that. You know, it's
no
it's
ID.
crazy.
No
but when
IDs.
You hear open borders. How about open borders? All this stuff.
Based.
In my opinion, there's no way they win elections without cheating. There's no way. There's no way. No Second Amendment. They're against energy. We were energy independent 2 months ago, energy independent. Now we're not energy independent. I saw where they're negotiating now with OPEC again. Here we go again. They are negotiating right now with OPEC and with Russia. We had so much oil, we didn't know what the hell to do with it. It's not even believable. They closed up so many.
Could that have been because of COVID? People weren't using as much oil? But now that we're going back to normal, we use more? Maybe?
Sites. Today, I want to send our profound and everlasting gratitude to every Arizona Republican who had the fortitude and the backbone to defy the lying media. Look at that. Ooh, it's a lot of media. It's a lot of media.
Dude, if you're press, do you think you have to like concealed carry at Trump events, dude? If I was like with CNN or something, and I went to like a Trump rally, I feel like I would have to come fucking strapped, okay? Because holy shit, every single time you get acknowledged, it's in the context of you are like the lying elite class here to rob democracy from Americans or something. It's like, all right, well, yeah, okay, all right.
A lot of media. See, the red lights are starting to go off now.
What?
They're going, cut. He's at it again. He's talking about the media.
Is that... What? Guys, we didn't expect this. Trump is talking shit about mainstream media. Fuck, we didn't know he'd... Cut the feed, cut the feed. What?
No, it's easy. Hey, look, some of them are down almost 80%.
He sees a light-up sketcher in the crowd. You know those light-up sketchers where you stomp your heels and the lights flash? He saw a red one.
But I want to, just to finish, we want to demand a full forensic audit of the results of Maricopa County. I particularly want to thank Arizona Senate
President
Arizona.
Karen Fann. She's been brave. She's been strong. And I predict when the votes come in, and that's her in the Senate, I think they're going to be so horrible that she's going to go 3 steps further than she ever thought she'd have to, because they will be, in my opinion, and again, I'm not involved, they're involved. This is the Arizona State Senate. I think the results will be so outrageous. You've already seen some of them come, that they're going to go many steps further than they would have.
What?
Judiciary Committee Chairman Warren Peterson. Where's Warren? Thank you, Warren. Thank you, Warren. He's here someplace. Thank you, Warren. And state, we did win. We really did. Not me. We all won. We won. Everybody knows it.
Why is he even doing rallies? Is he gonna run? Oh, he's gonna run in 2024. No way he doesn't. Why not? He gets to be like the permanent God Emperor celebrity of a third of the country as long as he keeps this going, you know? Why would he ever talk about or do anything else? He has to. He needs the attention.
You know, when you looked at election night, we were up by so much, it was over at 10 o'clock, and then all of a sudden, they closed the tabulation areas. They closed everything. And we wake up, and all of a sudden, it's tied or we're losing. And nobody believes it. They don't believe it. I tell you right now, they don't believe it. State Senators J.D. Mesnard, Kelly Townsend. Kelly, you've been so incredible. Kelly, J.D., thank you. Where's Kelly? Kelly, thank you. Great job. Tremendous courage you have. I appreciate it. The whole country appreciates it really a lot. Nancy Bartow. Nancy, wherever you may be. Nancy, thank you. Thank you very much.
He talks like his lips are allergic to his teeth. Well, he's so... Man, can you imagine if Donald Trump and Alex Jones were Huey Long-esque, like, dipshit populist lefties or something? I still probably have issues with them because they're fucking psychopaths. But man, how much more fun would it be if we could watch these buffoons sputter their way through conspiracy? And at least they're, like, pushing people vaguely in our direction.
Great job. Thanks, Nancy. Nice to meet you. See, they all think I'm involved. I'm not involved. These are people that did this by themselves. They wanted to do it. They had to do it. They saw what was going on, and they did it. So I'm meeting some of you for the first time. Senator Kerr. Where is Senator Kerr? Senator Kerr. Thank you very much.
Isn't Dorr the Alex Jones of the left? No, because Alex Jones pushes people to the right, and Dorr pushes people to the right. The equivalent there would be if Alex Jones, like, pretended to be a right-leaning person, but pushed people to the left, which he doesn't. He pushes people to the right pretty explicitly.
I appreciate it. Somebody who's been a warrior. Again, I don't know him. Sonny Borelli. He's great. Where's Sonny?
Just imagine if all of his stupid enthusiasm could be put towards advocating for Medicare for all, you know?
An amazing guy and a brave guy and a strong, smart guy. Thank you very much. All of you. Vince Leach. Where's Vince? Thank you, Vince.
We're going to have health care.
Thank you very much,
It's going to be huge.
Great job. Somebody else who's really been out there that's been brave, who wants to go many steps further than anybody. Wendy Rogers, right?
Is this Trump's version of reading donos? Yes, it is. And like my reading donos segments, we skip the VOD.
Chairwoman, somebody that has found out after they nominated that Democrat.
This should be enough.
History of our country.
There we go.
The Democrats know it. The corrupt media, right back there, a lot of people. They know
Skilled carry. Gotta stay safe. See, shit like this, man.
Big tech knows it. And most importantly, we, the American people, know it. We know it. But because of the steadfast conservatives all across our nation, and that's really happening now, if you look at what's going on all across, they've come from so many different states to look at
Not me. Hey.
your audit procedures. They go back, and I'll call them. I'll say, how did you like it? What did you think? They said, we don't believe it.
And then they're starting their own audits now. That's what's happening. They're coming and they're looking at what Karen and Kelly, they're looking at what people are afraid to walk down the streets of New York, and nobody gets prosecuted, except Republicans, by the way. In every fake news story.
That's true. Republican politicians do get prosecuted quite a bit more often than Democratic politicians do. That is true.
About the election, they always begin by stating that claims are unproven. This is the fake news. Those claims are unproven. Do you ever notice you read a story and you're reading about massive fraud, but they don't write about that too much. You know, the biggest thing is they don't write, but they always say, while this is totally unproven, and you're saying, well, wait a minute, we caught thousands and hundreds of thousands of people.
And lost every court case.
While there is no evidence, you know, they have these little sound bites, but the craziest of them all is, and always done in unison, because, you know, they work together. If this were business, they'd be put in jail because it would be called a monopoly. But the biggest and the craziest of the big lie, they call it. You know what's the big lie? The opposite is the big lie. The election was the big lie. And I've got to tell you, I've got to say this. I've never said it before, but I've always thought it. If I lost the election, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. Seriously. If we lost the election, we lose an election. I'll go home. I'll start building buildings. I'll do something. I'll keep myself busy. But you know what? If we lost the election, we know when we lose. You know, in Georgia, they had an election. We did so well, and everyone knew we won by hundreds of thousands, and they stole it from us. And what happened is we had 2 senators running a couple of months later. And you know what happened to them? The Republicans said, we're not going out to vote because this was rigged. This election was rigged. And they know it. You know when you win and when you lose.
Damn. It's almost like there are consequences to telling your voters that voting doesn't matter when you lie about the results of the previous election. Whose fault is that? Wow, wow, Republicans didn't show up for the fucking special elections in Georgia? Damn, well, I wonder what led them to have so many doubts in the system. Yeah, please, Republicans, your votes don't matter, so don't cast them in.
If I lost this election, I could handle it pretty easily. When they steal it from you and rig it, that's not easy, and we have to fight. We have no choice. Have to fight.
What do you mean by fight?
And it starts right here with the amazing Patriots in Arizona. And you're proving the fake news media wrong. You're proving them wrong because the evidence is monumental. Just like Russia, Russia. Remember? People would come up to me during the campaign, the first campaign, and they'd say, sir, do you know anything about Russia? No, what do you ask? Oh, no, just I was curious. You know, there was like these rumors. Another one would come up a month later, sir, do you have anything to do with Russia? No, I never even thought of it. But after I got asked that question 4 or 5 times, I said, what the hell is going on with Russia? And it was a fake deal made up by Hillary Clinton with a fake dossier where they paid.
Lock her up. Lock her up. Lock her up. Lock her up. Lock her up.
They play a different game, but you know, ultimately we're much bigger than them. We have many more people, because when you go over their policies, the fact is those policies are not a 50% of the vote. We have many, many more people. They're tough, they're mean, and they stick together. They do stick together, but their policies are so bad, they're so pathetic. If they ever had our policies, maybe there'd be no Republican Party, I must be honest with you, because we haven't until now, and it started with these incredible people, many of whom are sitting right here, the state senators from Arizona. It started with them, and now it's turning out to be a revolution in this country. Because people are saying, even some Democrats, they're saying no. Knowing what happened in the election is a good thing, not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And what are they?
Yeah. That's why we had all those court cases. Yeah, we should know.
And we found out you were given a ton of opportunities to make your claims, and you couldn't. Jesus. Guys, never forget that not only did Newsmax and OAN on air retract their claims about the Dominion voting machines and many other elements of the big lie, but so too did Sidney Powell. Remember the Kraken lady, the person at the head of the special investigation that Trump brought about? She said, yeah, it was all a joke. Don't take me seriously. Yeah, Sidney Powell. Seriously, that's true. Hold on. Yeah, it's just a prank, bro. Here's Sidney Powell's legal defense for claims of defamation. Reasonable people wouldn't believe her election fraud claims. Not only was she just doing a little bit of trolling, reasonable people would have known that from the start. It was all performance art, you see. No reasonable person would conclude her statements were truly statements of fact, Powell's attorney. Now, again, if your claims are so bad that the legal defense your team has to concoct is it was performance art, you have a pretty bad case. How can you be this cucked? This is every day in the life of Republicans, by the way. Vosh, this type of shit gets described incorrectly for memes. Not a statement of fact doesn't mean they're admitting they were lying. It means statement of opinion. Yeah, but everything's a statement of opinion. This defense is legalese for we shouldn't be sued for defamation because nothing we said should be taken seriously. That all of the claims of fact that we made were actually just strongly stated opinions. Like, it's very, very, very clearly an indication that they never had any legitimate ground to begin with. Kind of, but there's legal difference. Yeah, from a legal difference, yes. But in terms of, like, the legitimacy of these claims from the perspective of the people listening to them, you know?
Trying to hide. Why wouldn't they want it? Now, they're trying to hide at a level. That's why I don't understand guys like Ducey and your commissioners. These commissioners are so bad. But, you know, you have the witch hunt. Remember the great witch hunt? And the impeachment hoax #1 and impeachment hoax #2. And
I remember that Dr. Seuss book.
The Republicans can really stick together. We have great Republicans. You have Jim Jordan. You have, I mean, I'm going to get in trouble, but you have Jim Jordan and Devin. And by the way, you have 3 of them here tonight. These guys, I hope you love them all because those 3 are fighters, but we'll introduce them in a second. They've already jobs. And they're lost all over the country. People sold their home. They were so excited. They were going to be building this pipeline, environmentally much better than a truck. Much better, frankly, than a train, a railroad. Much safer. They were building it, and he stopped it. Like in the first week, he stopped it. And yet he approves the biggest pipeline in the world going from Russia to Germany. And we're supposed to protect Germany. I said that. I said, by the way, you would have never even heard about that pipeline if it wasn't for me. Nord Stream 2.
What?
Nord Stream. Nobody ever heard of that. Nobody ever talked about it until I came along. Nobody did. Look. I get along with Putin because that's a good thing. I got along with him. He got along with me. But nobody was ever tougher on Russia than I
Okay. Come on, man. All right.
was. This pipeline is the biggest thing they've ever done. This is billions and billions. And I asked Angela, and I get along with Angela too, but she's doing what she's doing for Germany. Although I think the pipeline's a big mistake for Germany, because they might as well just wave the red flag or the white flag, because it's over. It's over. They're going to get 60, 70% of their energy from Russia. So I said, so let me ask you, so we're spending billions of dollars to protect you from Russia, and you're paying billions and billions of dollars for energy to Russia. What the hell is that all about, right? So I stopped it, and within a couple of weeks, he approved it. And now they're going to be restarting it, and they'll have it finished in a couple of months, and they're going to make billions and billions of dollars.
Wait, how did Trump Is he claiming he stopped the development of a pipeline from Russia to Germany? Somewhat out of his jurisdiction, no? What is being claimed here? He sanctioned it? Did it need, like, all the fucking... what was this? A G7 resolution? Or is it G8 now? I forget. G7? G7. Yeah.
But the American pipeline is stopped, and I can only say that's called America first versus America last. I mean, it's just, they're destroying, look, they are destroying our country. And you know, if the election were the way it were, and let's say they were doing a great job, number one, you probably wouldn't be as enthusiastic.
From what I understand, it was a diplomatic move to help Germany and curry favor. Yeah, as I understand it, isn't Germany shutting down its nuclear power plants for, like, no reason? So they have a lack of energy they need to compensate for?
Let's say they were doing a great job. By the way, your Arizona border, which I put up the wall, and it was great. It was the best it ever was. And now...
This is really low energy.
And now what's pouring into your state is not even to be believed. Not even to be believed. But you know what? If instead of doing the horrible, they're saying it was the worst 6 months in the history of the presidency. I don't know that that's true, but I would say it is. If you look at what's happened to the economy.
This is so
how about
lame.
The vaccine? I came up with and the reason they noticed it, I guess, number one, it was very light, but they saw that when you hit it with a certain pen, it went right through the paper. They say, what the hell kind of paper is this? That's 168,000 votes. And so that also would have been invalidated. They wouldn't have allowed it to be on election day. They wouldn't have allowed it. 168,000 votes. I wonder who they voted for. Tell me, I wonder who they voted for. Would you say it was 100% for Biden or 97%? It was also revealed in a recent hearing that there are thousands and thousands of duplicated ballots that do not have a serial number, suggesting that votes may have been fraudulently duplicated and counted.
Fraudulently. By the way, the thing that he's talking about right now, if I'm remembering the case correctly, those ones without the serial numbers never entered circulation. They were like test prints. Why would any vote ballot get counted if they don't have a serial number? Like, yeah, we're going to forge some votes by putting the votes on ballots that have a giant ID missing that would signal that there's something wrong with them.
Multiple times, time after time after time. You saw it in Georgia. You saw those people go in. They said, there's a water main break. Everybody leave. Everybody leave. Everybody got the hell out. They don't want to drown. They don't want a water main break. And a few minutes, a short while later, a woman, a political operative, we all know her name. We all know her name.
Hillary
and
Clinton.
It should have been taken care of. Which should have been taken care of. But a woman comes in, but it is now. It's in court, and it's a big deal. She came in with a group. She didn't go back to her machine. They went for the table. They lifted up the skirt of the table, and lo and behold, it was loaded up with ballots, but they weren't ballots that were in boxes that ballots come. They were in other, whether it was suitcases, it was totally different. They took those and they started putting them in, sometimes 3 times, sometimes 5 times, and they stood there. And I'll tell you what, when people looked at that, they got sick. People threw up looking at it. And law enforcement did very little. But now what's happening is, I believe the courts are...
This act of voter fraud, it's an eldritch abomination. Everyone's seen the videotapes. It's like The Ring. If you see it in 7 days, you die. You see it in your eyes blister in their sockets. It's an abomination. Everyone should have known. The police did nothing. They were powerless against the eldritch horror of these ballots and the political operative where we all know her name. She should have been stopped. What are we talking about? People threw up? What the fuck is going on? Yeah, it's a fucking cognito hazard. Jesus Christ. You can't watch they couldn't bring the tapes to court because it would have turned the jury into a fucking cult sect. What?
Going to do a lot. It's a big deal going on. That was total criminal behavior.
Is that why he couldn't say her name? Because it's unpronounceable in the tongue of man?
Is it like nop or something like that? And if you hear it, your ears explode? Is that what's happening?
So you hear those hundreds of thousands of votes. We won the state of Arizona, and we won it decisively, and we won other of these states. Isn't it amazing? Barack Hussein Obama, he beat Biden all over the country decisively. So did Hillary, except in 5 swing states where Biden wiped him out with the black population. So I think that he's not going to beat Obama, but only in these states.
What?
These states. So he did poorly, except in these states, he had massive victories. We're really smart people. We can't let this happen. We can't let this happen. Yet this is only the beginning of the irregularities the Arizona audit is uncovering. The authors and the auditors have collected a sworn affidavit stating that county election workers lowered signature matching standards from 20 points of comparison to 10, to 5, and eventually down to 0. In other words, they abolished all signature matching entirely. In other words,
Has there I'm actually asking this. Has there ever been any evidence that signature matching is an effective way of determining the authenticity of something like a voting ballot? Like, if we're talking about, like, a CEO and it's, like, stuff written by them, like, you'd know the signature, you'd be able to recognize it. But when it comes to voter ballots, how do you signature check with a voter ballot? Like, signatures change over time. What database are you comparing it against? Because my signature is nonsense. I don't have a consistent one. I just... Yeah. But like, seriously, what would the database be? What would you compare it against? Like, you've got a vote counter, and they have a ballot, and they see the signature, and then what do they look up to compare it to? I'm genuinely asking. I don't know what that means. I don't know. The idea is that when you register to vote, it also gives them your signature for the record. What if your signature changes with time? Wait, what? So wait, for counties that still have high signature matching standards, could that mean that you signed up to vote at 18, at 30 you have a very different signature just because it's changed over time, and unbeknownst to you, every single fucking election your vote gets thrown out because you just... There's somebody somewhere is like, oh, this doesn't match, and it's you, and you're submitting the vote? If that's really how that works, that's insane. Yeah, what if you break your right hand or your dominant hand? You have to write with the other hand. What if... okay.
you have a bad signature. So the machine...
I'm sorry, wait. Just complete anecdote, okay? Did anyone ever watch Smallville? What was it, WATV series about the Clark Kent? He's just getting his powers. I watched a bit of it back when I was young. And, it wasn't amazing. Yeah, somebody save me! Okay, but it's not like an amazing show. However, I distinctly remember this one episode, right? Where there was a shapeshifter who arrived at Smallville. Also, Lex Luthor is in Smallville for some reason. I don't know why. They, like, grew up together. It's really cringe. But anyway, a shapeshifter arrives, and he wants a bunch of money, the shapeshifter. So he shapeshifts into Lex Luthor, and he goes into one of the banks, and he's like, hello, as you can see, I'm Lex Luthor. Give me all your money. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, for sure. I just need to see your signature. And the shapeshifter's like, what? Can't you tell I'm Lex Luthor? And the guy's like, yeah, I just need your signature. And he's like, and he runs away. And I was thinking, like, couldn't you just write whatever? Just write whatever. Just say, like, I hit my hand again. I slammed the car door on my fingers recently. My hand might be a bit shaky. Just do a signature. What are they going to do? Like, deny the billionaire kid? I don't know. Whatever. Signatures are dumb.
Was picking up a lot of bad signatures. They said, this is no good. Let's lower it. Let's lower it. They brought it down to 0, so you had no signature matching. Perhaps this is why the county has refused to comply with an official subpoena sent out by your great Senate to provide images of the envelopes, which would prove whether they counted ballots and whether or not they had signatures at all, because we think many of them had no signature at all, because you can't sign them all during the night. We think they didn't, and you know what else they didn't have?
What?
They didn't have phones.
Wait, what? They didn't have signatures on it because in the cloak of night when they were faking these ballots, they couldn't, like, scrabble one in? Like, it was too dark. We were able to get the ballots in, but it was too dark to sign them. What are you talking about? He's legit lying? Yeah, it's Trump. He just says whatever. It's this.
In order to have a
Did they
ballot
have
counted,
lights?
it has to be folded. But so many of these pages are laying flat, without a crease, without a fold. Cybersecurity experts have also testified that the logs for the election management system software were wiped under highly suspicious circumstances. This is them saying it, not me.
I don't know about this one.
With more than 37,000 requests made to the server in a single day. Think of that. Erasing the data permanently for the entire period surrounding the election. Gee, I wonder why they erased the data surrounding the election. I wonder why.
I wonder why.
The county has, for whatever reason, also refused to produce the network routers. We want the routers, Sonny. Wendy, we got to get those routers, please. The routers. Come on, Kelly, we can get those routers. Those routers.
Does he know what a router is?
We're so beyond the routers. There's so many fraudulent votes without the router. But
he doesn't know. He doesn't know what a router is. He's saying it like that because he doesn't know it. He just thinks it's like a sci-fi tech word, you know?
If you got those routers, what that will show, and they don't want to give up the routers. They don't want to give them. They are fighting like hell.
He doesn't
Why
know.
are these commissioners fighting not to give the routers? How
He doesn't
simple
know.
could it be?
He
that
doesn't
will
know.
tell the truth.
Also, wait, what info could he glean from a router? What like what information is he looking for there? I don't think routers would store that. Yeah. Routers don't keep any traffic logs. Yeah, don't modems keep traffic logs? Like router if don't so pardon me if I'm wrong. Don't routers just allow you to enjoy Wi-Fi? You connect them to a modem. The modem takes the internet juice from your wall plug, and you can just plug your computer into that. But if you want Wi-Fi, then you make it a router. But nowadays, most routers and modems are the same box. Yeah, the internet juice. Yeah. Routers keep mappings of IP addresses and not much else. That's usually on RAM, so lost on restart. Yeah, I don't think routers keep like long-term data or anything. Like, I don't think there's some detailed internal log. I guess I don't really know. But he doesn't know either, so I don't know why I'm trying to figure this out.
What are they trying to hide? Unbelievably, the auditors have testified that the master database for the election management system has been deleted. I wonder why it was deleted. I wonder, Sonny, why was it deleted, please?
I don't know about
the
these
main
claims.
database for all of the election-related data in Maricopa in 2020 has been illegally erased. It's been erased. The county has also refused to provide the authority for the information. We want the information needed to access vote tabulation devices. To top it all off, they've refused to hand over the all-important chain of custody documentation for Maricopa County ballots. They don't want to give it. Why don't they want to give it? Why? I stand before you today to demand nothing less than full and complete cooperation from Maricopa County and from the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors, who have fought your Senate at every single turn. Incredibly. Why? 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 Why are Republicans fighting it? All they have to do
This
is
is
hand
literally
it
all he'll
over,
talk
and
about
they're
in the
either going to
2024
be
campaign trail. This is going to be like the founding myth of the new Republican Party. I actually mean that, by the way. It used to be, I think for the longest time, like the Republicans have used Reagan as like their modern founding myth, basically. Like he's the North Star they're always trying to chase. And now it's going to be this. Every Republican election is going to be modeled off of what's happening here from now on. For decades, at least.
Right? They're not even saying they're right. They just don't want it. They don't even say they're right. They know, I think they know a hell of a lot about what happened. But why don't they want to do that? The citizens of Arizona, an incredible state that, as you know, I won 4 years ago, and I won it again. Somebody came in from a media group, a very good media group, actually, said, what was the difference?
Isn't it good there's no way this will win election? You know, you say that. However, I mean, we'll see. We will see. I don't know. There are some people who claim that the Republicans are going to take the House next year. I guess we'll see.
Difference between 2016 and 2020. I said, well, the difference was I actually did much better in 2020. It's true. We got 75 million votes. We got 12 million votes more. No president in history has ever gotten anywhere close to 12 million more votes. And that's with them doing counting. So you can imagine what the real number is, okay? No, you can imagine. Because the easiest way of cheating is to throw them away. That's easier.
What?
The postmen don't have to deliver them. The post office doesn't have to deliver them. You know, it's a very Democrat group, and why not? They have the greatest pension plan that anybody's ever seen. Why not? And that's okay. But, you know, a lot of them didn't go to their location, and when they were signed, they didn't get brought back. But when you think about it, and when you think about the corruptness, why don't these people want to find out the truth? The citizens of America deserve answers. We're talking about America. You know, we're not talking about Arizona anymore. We're talking about the United States of America, because this has gone on. And I hate to say it, but this is because you're really bad. But this has gone much worse in Detroit, Michigan. Much worse. We have a bunch of rhino senators up there, the exact opposite. You have one or two. We have a whole bunch of them up there. But we have a bunch of rhino senators. This is not as bad anywhere near, in my opinion, as Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You take a look at Philadelphia. What they did to our poll watchers were incredible. We had poll watchers, nice people, great people. They love our country. They were Republican, but more than anything else, they want an honest counter. They just wanted to be. They'd turn them in either way. They were physically thrown the hell out, and they couldn't get in for days.
What is he saying?
So during that period of time,
the people he's referring to, by the way, were literally just like crazed Republican protesters out on the street who were trying to barge in, saying they wanted to be a poll watcher too.
Vast numbers of things happened that are terrible. And not only did they throw them out, they boarded up the windows so they couldn't even see inside. And then we got a court order, and they wouldn't obey the court order. And then they kept them 60 feet away. Do you know what 60 feet? That's like me looking at a vote with the lady in the beautiful red dress right over there, right? That's 60 feet. And I'm saying, oh, gee, how's that ballot? I'm 60 feet away. They were threatened by thugs. In Georgia, a recent review of ballot images has shown that the error rate in the hand audit of Atlanta's Fulton County was a whopping 60%. Would you say that's high? Including outright fabricated vote totals, as well as obvious duplications of ballots amounting to potentially thousands and thousands of extra votes for Joe Biden. All of this is in addition to the recently discovered 35,000 illegal votes that were potentially cast by people who did not live in the county in which they voted, minor detail, as well as 100,000 people who were purged from the Georgia rolls after the election. Think of this. I lost by like 11,000, you know, 11,000. They have 100,000 plus.
Dudes really will do anything instead of getting therapy. Can you imagine if he just talked to a therapist about this? This is literally just a therapy session. Look at this. I was so close. It's like listening to a fucking mediocre high school quarterback. It's spend the rest of their life talking about how they could have made it that big game, you know?
They were purged. They were deleted after the election was over, far exceeding the margin needed for a Republican presidential victory. Far. That's just that one item. That's only one, but we have many. In other words, it is determinative.
You think Republicans can make any sense of Trump's nonsense? I feel like when I say stuff like this, I'm speaking as though Republicans are lizard people, which it's not really my intent, but I don't think they actually care about the words that he says. I think one of the most honest depictions of their mentality is actually found in the works of the incredibly intelligent Carolyn Borisenko. Because her big "why I left the left" moment was going to a Trump rally, and the energy was high, and it was loud, and there were colors everywhere, and the noise was big, and people were smiling. I really do think that's it, you know? I think that Republican voters are looking for they're looking for enthusiasm, and they're looking for just kind of a vague endorsement of the policies they care about. Very vague. It can be very, very vague. So Trump, I mean, he rambles like a buffoon, you know? But I think them watching Trump is a little bit like us watching Zizek, where the rambling and everything and the almost incomprehensibility is like a part of the charm. And even though sometimes he says really dumb or incomprehensible stuff, you know the pattern is left-leaning. So you follow it and you like it. And you get this bit, you get that bit, and some of it's just nonsense, but the pattern is good. You like the pattern. And for Republicans, Trump is just that, just a 1/4 of the IQ version of Slavoj Žižek.
It's no wonder that Joe Biden and the radical Democrats are going absolutely crazy, screaming about voting rights, ranting about democracy. They want democracy and resisting every effort to look into the massive fraud in 2020.
Dude, the fucking Weimar Republic says they want democracy and transparency, but they're not even looking into the burning of the Reichstag. What's up with them, huh? Come on. Hey.
Just so you understand, you know, we talk about cancel culture. The biggest thing that they want canceled is they don't want you talking about the election that just took place, because they say, holy shit, they caught us. They caught us. They caught us. And you know, we've seen it. It's a scandal, the likes of which we've never had. But the only way you get away with a scandal. And I was wondering, because he was all excited. McSwain was all excited. He was going to go in there. Then one day it was like, it's like somebody died. There was no more excitement. He was told not to do it. One day I noticed that the fake news media was calling Bill Barr a puppet of Donald Trump, and he wasn't a puppet at all. They had a picture of him with strings where I was totally controlling him. Just not true. They were saying that Bill Barr...
They posted an image of him being held aloft with strings. Fake image. That did not happen. That was not true. At no point have I held him aloft with strings. I don't even own strings.
You have to go against him, Bill Barr. Then they started saying they were going to impeach him. And they were what's called playing the ref. You know what that is? They're doing it with the Supreme Court, too. They're nasty. You see, now again, they want to impeach Kavanaugh. Not that they want to impeach him. They want to scare the hell out of him so he votes along the liberal lines. Because if he votes along the liberal lines, they're playing the ref better than the great Bobby Knight of Indiana ever played the ref. Remember, with the chair and this. They said, Bobby, you're not going to win that call. He said, yeah, but I'm going to win the next one.
What?
That's what they're doing.
Is this
the great Bobby Knight, who was one of our great endorsements, I will tell you. When Bobby
Wow,
Knight
nobody else
Trump,
cares either.
Indiana we were doing well there before. You ought to see after. Bobby Knight, that's a piece of work. But he said, it may not work this time, but it's going to work the next time. And the refs were afraid to say anything. It's true. That's what they're doing with our Supreme Court. They're trying to scare Kavanaugh.
Feels like me trying to talk about 40K to you guys, you know? This is just like that one thing. Okay, wait, hold on. So there's this book, see? Yeah.
They're talking about an impeachment. I just saw it again this morning in the paper. They want to impeach Kavanaugh again. It's not that they do. They want him to rule for them. And if he rules for them, they're never going to impeach him. There's not. But if he rules against them like he's supposed to because he is a conservative, then, but they also don't want to have a packed court. So they're saying, we're going to legislator here who said, thank you, and I love you too. He said, sir, I was prepared to lose my election. People that you know, I was prepared. I didn't know him. I spoke to him for the first time. He said, I was prepared to lose my election. 2 months before, I was prepared. Then I went to one of your rallies, and I saw the level of enthusiasm with thousands of people unable to get in, 42,000 people, thousands unable to get in. I saw the enthusiasm, but I was very much prepared. I assumed I was going to lose. He's been there for a long time.
I actually can't understand a single thing that he's saying anymore. I'm so sorry. I keep trying to skip to a point where he's saying something comprehensible, and we're so beyond that. I don't even know. I genuinely don't even know. He's just the whole dialogue train is melting. Can the suffering end? Can it? I don't know.
We had fentanyl down to the lowest it's been in 15 years because it's not just people. It's the drugs that come across. We had it to the lowest. This drug is
I thought he was talking about George
Floyd. A small
Floyd.
amount can kill 1,000 people. A little amount can kill thousands of people. We had it to the lowest level it's been in 15 years, and it was going down.
Compare this to a Bernie speech. Trump literally only talks about himself. It's fucking insane. Yeah, that's one of the things that, like, I feel like Republicans should be able to pick up on this. Like, does it bother them that Trump only talks about himself and everything he does and says has to be part of some self-congratulation? Always. In years of public speech, that's the only thing he talks about, but it doesn't seem to bother them. Like, that's very just intuitively repulsive to me for a politician, but...
And now he blew the thing up. And I used to say it's incompetence, but they must really want this to happen. From the very beginning of our movement, we have been fighting against some of the most corrupt, powerful, and entrenched forces imaginable. The professional political class, the deep state, the fake news media, the Russia hoaxers, the globalists, the socialists, the communists, the lobbyists, the corporate special interests who are absolutely terrible, and now the critical race theorists. All of them oppose our movement for a simple reason. We believe in putting America first. It's very simple.
All right, I think we get the gist of this. Damn. Low energy Trump. I was expecting more from him. I really was. I was expecting more. Yeah, a whole lot of nothing. Is this really what the Republican Party has to run on right now? Like, this is it? No big policy measure, no big drive to make America better for anyone? Just like, gonna continue complaining forever? Isn't this the path to civil war? How's the polling going? Don't like 70% of Republicans think Biden stole the election? Pew Research, election fraud. Voters' reflections on the 2020 election. This is from January of this year. Let's go a little further. Let's see. It's all from January. Sad. Very, very sad. Well, suffice to say, the majority of Republicans definitely believe that Donald Trump won the election and that Biden cheated. So how the fuck do we fix this? I've said this before and I'll say it again. The Republican Party has to be made politically unviable. They're an anti-democracy party. They would lead us all to camps if they could. They have to be made irrelevant. The Electoral College needs to be abolished. The Senate needs to be abolished or restructured. Not the likelihood of either of these things happening is vanishingly low, but I want it. DC and Puerto Rico can be made states. We need to fight back against gerrymandering aggressively. And, man, I don't know. I really, really, really feel like a lot of what Republicans do is a pretty clear example of sedition, a thing which is on the book illegal, and one of the few things that you can charge a congressperson with that'll get them expelled from office automatically. But, like, it just doesn't seem to happen. I guess that's a slippery slope because, like, well, what if you charged other people for other things? But, like, dude, when you're at the point where, like, there was an attack on the Capitol and people died, and there are people defending that and explicitly playing defense for the terrorists who did it. Like, I don't know, man. It feels like there are some options on the table. In May, 56% of Republicans believed it was stolen. Oh, so the number's gone down since January. That's nice. The May national poll found 53% of Republicans believe Trump, their party's nominee, is the, quote, true president now, compared with 3% of Democrats and just a quarter of all Americans. 3% of Democrats. Wait, who are the Democrats who think Trump is the true president? What sleeper agent shit are you on? Like agents of chaos. Like, yeah, Donald Trump really did win. Huh. But we made sure he didn't. And maybe they like made a bunch of fake ballots themselves to send them out so they could be, I don't know. Nice. Yeah, it was me. Whatever. Maybe by true president, they meant like, oh, he's our true president in the sense that he is the greatest reflection of the rod at the core of the American system or something like that. I don't know. These figures were roughly the same in a poll that ran during November, which found that 59% of Republicans felt that way. Okay, so from this methodology, it looks like it's about the same. It's gone down a little bit. Keep in mind, though, only 25% of all Americans. The Republicans are a minority in this country. They are. Republican Party membership is... Yeah, here's party affiliation by percentage. Here, we can go all the way back and see time change. Here's back in 2004. More Republicans than Democrats, believe it or not. But as time changes, particularly around the Obama years, the percentage of Democrats massively outweighs the percentage of Republicans in this country. And right now, it's 30% to 24%. That means that the number of Democrats, proportionally speaking, are a whole 25% higher than the number of Republicans. Look at this number of independents right here. That's a lot of people. 44%. That's a lot of people. Now, of course, there's a lot of variance in this polling that you can see over time. These results differ from these results, differ from these results. But working on the current numbers, these are the people we need to focus on first and foremost. You ask me, what do we do about this? These people have to be made irrelevant. They're the minority. Independents and Democrats are both larger. Donald Trump had a much lower approval rating than Joe Biden does. We need to convince people in the center that these people are a threat and that these people are, well, slightly less of a threat. Bosch, of that 44%, do you think it's made, what do you think it's made up of? More libertarian / far right or more socialist / far left? Neither. They're independents. The people here in the middle are people who are politically disaffected, who know little to nothing about politics, who don't care about politics, or who have strong opinions that don't really jive with any of the existing political blocks. So they just sit in the middle and vote based on stupid, like, personality-based moves. Most independents are partisans who just claim they're not affiliated, though. Yeah, I don't know how much that would account for here. If that's the case, then we can assume the proportionality is going to be similar in both ways. Though, to be fair, I feel like there are probably more left-leaning independents who just are embarrassed by the Dems than right-leaning independents embarrassed by the Republicans. Conservatives are much better at falling in line. I feel like independents are a group which can be tapped effectively, and we should focus on that first and foremost. Y'all get me. Oh my god, I'm so tall right now. All right. Listening to Trump exhausted me. Let me read donos and then I'll cut it. Carly Chirk and NCR Llama, thank you for the tier 1 subs both. Really appreciate that. Cody Griffith and Mindforge Manacles, thank you for the $5 both. Really appreciate that as well. Wondering how effective a no confidence vote would be if we adopted it. Ineffective. Nobody in power quakes because people stop voting. Governments with lower rates of voter turnout are usually governments which are more authoritarian and care less about the people. Radiant Knight, thank you for the $5. Yeah. Official Josh Woods, thank you for the $5. Hey, Trump, it was not 110 degrees yesterday or any of the last days in Arizona. It's been rainy as fuck. Got him. Catherine Music Avian, thank you for the very kind tier 2 sub. I really appreciate that. Got some CARES Act money and a job, so now I can afford subbies again. Yay. Nice. Really happy to hear that. That's not what a vote of no confidence means. I'm sorry, I was thinking of like the Paul's ego no confidence vote thing. Do you mean the vote of no confidence like what would they do in England, where you have a vote of no confidence for your like prime minister? We don't have a prime minister. I assumed we were talking about America here, so I knocked off the potential. Yeah, what would it do here? Then to remove POTUS? We can't. I don't think we can do that. Guys, we don't have a prime minister. We vote for our president. We impeach presidents. What would it do here was the question, no? Oh, it can't do anything. A vote of no confidence means that you don't think the current prime minister is an effective representative of the party coalition that currently controls the government. But that's because in the UK, you don't vote for your prime minister. You vote for your local party officials. Your party officials vote for their prime minister. If they're the one who ends up getting the majority. So here in the US, we vote for presidents directly. If we did a vote of no confidence, you don't vote for your president either, you vote for electoral college votes. Yeah, but that's not necessarily the same. The electoral college is expected to vote in line with the people in the states they're in, whereas prime ministers have like the expected, or the parties have an expected prime minister, but you could have another one from that group. But what would you do if you had a vote of no confidence on a US president? Like, the party that president came from would just scramble to find another person to make president, and would they even be voted in? It just, yeah. Annoyed Gamer, thanks the very kind $10. I was at work recently and some customer called me nothing more than a Jewish snake. I'm not Jewish, but still odd that some felt comfortable just saying that. Yeah, that's a little bit odd. Definitely a bit of a gamer moment there, I'd say. Ace Coomer, thanks the tier 1 sub. Yeah, it does. Spider Frog with 10 euros, thank you very, very much. Yes, I would like to talk to TJ again. It just has to happen. Has to happen. Courage of Naruto and Captain Star Chaser, thank you for the $5 both. I really appreciate that. Yes, the Arizona GOP is fucking insane. Courage of Naruto, I did see that video. The cop that got caught planting drugs doesn't actually seem to have been planting any drugs. I went over it last stream. There was more footage that released. It just looked like it was an incredibly convenient, like everything worked to make it look as much as possible like it was like he was planting drugs, but that just doesn't seem to be what happened. So we went over all the footage and it was fun. Here, wait, hold on. I want to try to see if I can confirm a bias. Yep. On my subreddit, there were some people saying I was irresponsible for covering the police body cam thing, and then later, like 20 minutes later, going over the rest of the footage, and I checked, and yep, they're Destiny posters. Every fucking time, dude. Why does he keep reacting to breaking news? He keeps doing this. Same with the Rittenhouse he shot in a crowd. That has nothing to do with the situation here. Just repeat any, like, offhand point you have. What? So, I don't know why, like, this is a thing that they've convinced themselves is, like, a valid argument, but it's okay to react to things as they happen. That's fine. Like, that's allowed. How do you know when all of the evidence is out? You never do. You have the information you have, and you make comments on the things you do. If later more evidence comes out, why is the Destiny community obsessed with you? If you've looked at Destiny's subreddit for the past month, it's not even about stream content. It's about him arguing with people on Twitter. People like Ian Miles Chong, Sargon, Paul Joseph Watson, and The Quartering have been, like, retweeting and liking the tweets he's been making because he's been doing nothing but arguing with, like, trans leftists, saying that he's done, like, he's gonna block all trans people on Twitter, like, calling them mentally ill, all that stuff, you know? And his Reddit right now is exclusively dedicated to covering his Twitter drama. I don't, like, it's, like, not even any stream stuff. So the reason why they'll always obsess over me is because they are a completely vacuous community with no substance beyond constant blood drawing now, which is why there's no point in engaging with it. Like, what gain is there to be had? What benefit is there to accrue? It's absolutely nothing. It's completely nihilistic, internet smart bro posturing with no underlying political motive, or really even any adherence to, like, good faith discourse, considering the way he's acted. You're right, shim engaging. True. He called Lexi Demon Mama and the other trans women he's been shitting on the Down Syndrome Avengers during his talk with Dylan. Jesus Christ. If so, why can't you debate him about it, expose him about it? There's nothing to expose. He's doing it openly. His community doesn't care, you know? This is like, what do you mean expose him? Like, you're obviously and directly doing this bad thing. Okay. What? What's the point? Anyway. Ufix, the tier 2 sub, thank you very, very much. Where did it all go wrong? Because he's a contrarian. If you look back in his videos in 2016, he talked all the time about how the reason he felt a necessity to push back on the far right is because they were so prominent on YouTube. Now that the left is more prominent on YouTube, he talks all the time about how now BreadTube is the new anti-SJW crowd. All he cares about is which communities he's annoyed with and are in his proximity, and he'll justify anything and everything that you can do or say against those communities if they annoy him personally. He claims to be impartial about it, but he gets super fucking upset all the time, making, like, report-worthy tweets on Twitter, then nuking the entire log so that people can't report him because he wants to keep his account so he can keep tweeting 20 times a day. He's really emotionally invested, and it's really unhealthy, and there is nobody with less standing to call other people permanently online. All right. There's our once in a month, okay? Enjoy the threads on me for the next 2 weeks in the subreddit. Herd Corval, thank you for the $5. Paul's ego is talking shit. You were too easy on him last time. Rip apart his fat bussy next time. No need for that language. He sure does tweet about me a lot. Like, he can come on again if he wants, mostly because I was pretty nice to him the first 2 times, and this time I will actually be very mean to him because he kind of deserves it with his behavior. But, like, he'd have to come on, but then he said he doesn't want to come on, so yeah, I don't know. Just, I don't put that much stock in his opinions on me. Alan Kelly, yes, thank you for the $3. Yes, I am going to play Elden Ring when it comes out. Timmy Francia, thank you for the 2,500 CRC. Urgent read, please. Sorry, this is a super chat. I need this info to reach you. Read the Texas education bill. It doesn't say to stop teaching MLK. No. The Texas education bill that passed was the more moderate one. The Texas Senate Bill 3 is an earlier iteration of that bill that they're trying to retroactively apply to the past Texas education bill that does remove MLK from the curriculum.
they're currently trying to push that through. So they got the only a little bit bad bill through, but they're trying to push through the amendment that would make it the extra bad one, you see. Cyrus Ray, thank you for the $5. What's your prediction for the losing party's coping mechanism in 2024? Oh, I don't know. Depends on who loses. The Republicans are never going to trust the results of they're never going to trust the results of an election again. Remember how in 2016 Donald Trump preemptively coped about the loss he expected to have by saying 3 million illegals voted in the election, but then they could never prove it, and he spent millions of dollars trying to prove it, but they never could? Like, even if he wins, he'll still say they cheated to try to make him lose, you know? Spyro Gal, thanks for the gifted tier 1 sub. Hung a Master with a $3. Do you support Khmer ethno-nationalism? Absolutely not. And J-Man G with the unbelievably kind $100. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. That is incredibly kind of you. Owe you this and more for the awesome content. Picked up on you from Kyle Kalinske and friends. Keep crushing it, my dude. I knew something good would come from that convo. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Hopefully it's all good vibes from here. You know, in spite of the whatever state our relationships with those people might be. Not Kyle Kalinske and friends, Crystal Kyle and friends, sorry. With those people in the future. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's really, really, really kind. And much appreciated. All right, folks. What are we, a half hour early? I didn't expect to get sidelined by Trump there. I love you all very, very much. What should I shill out for while I'm on my way out? Let me see. What should we shill out for? Who's live on Twitch? I always have this overwhelming temptation to host Lethal Frag, even though it could only end poorly and there's no reason. Trash Future Pod? I haven't shilled for them before. Yeah, we'll shill for Lumiru. Wait, is Xander on? Do I not follow Xander on Twitch? Wait, hold on. He's not on. Why would you say that? Well, I've followed him now. No, I was already following him. Why would you? Okay, whatever. We're hosting Lumiru. All right. Get in there, folks. Be friendly, be kind, etc., etc. No, I don't think Trash Future Pod would like the raid either. Even though my community is nothing but nice to the people they visit. All right, have fun, Twitch. And while I just have you degenerate YouTubers here, what should I shill out for? Sub to my channel.